Daytona 500 Speed Week action. As for the second consecutive night, we are live with the NASCAR Cup cars on track. Yesterday, single car qualifying to set the front row for the Daytona 500. Now we are going to set rows 2 through 21 based off of our 260-lap dual races this evening. Kyle Busch on the pole for the first time ever in the Daytona 500. That means he'll be starting on pole for dual race number 1. And into dual race number 2, the outside pole sitter for the Daytona 500, Chase Briscoe, will lead the field to the green. We have 38 drivers locked into the field for this weekend. 2 more spots open. 3 open entries in each duel tonight. Will be racing for 1 spot. Winner take all between those 3 to get the final qualifying spots for the Daytona 500 on those open entries. That'll be fun to watch. I'm sure the racing itself will be fun to watch in a very packed field of 45 cars over the 2 races tonight. 23 in race 1, 22 of them in race number 2. Thank you to everybody that tuned in throughout last night's live commentary stream of the Daytona 500 qualifying. It was a great showing. And as for tonight, greetings, and we'll get into this one here shortly. The starting lineup for dual race number 1 is scrolling across the top of the screen, and I'll have the dual 2 starting lineup scrolling across there as well when we get into that race a little bit later on. Going to be a slight break point between races as well. Clear skies for tonight. No precipitation in the area. It's going to be 2 60-lap duels, and we're going to have a lot of fun watching the action here on KRC. DC Long, Tim Irvin, Tripo Edit, Bam Hall, thanks for tuning in, everybody. You guys are the first in the chat down below. And I'm sure we'll see many others over the course of the next couple hours. Toyota dominance in dual race number 2, but dual race number 1, only 4 Toyotas in the field. They're very much outnumbered. And we have 2 Legacy Motor Club cars in this first race. Only 2 2311 Toyotas. All 4 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas will be in dual race number 2, and all starting in the top 3 rows at that. So a very Chevrolet and Ford dominated field for this first race. And I'd say of the star power caliber, when we talk about the top teams in NASCAR, the top drivers in the Cup Series, I'd say this first dual race probably has the most star power of any. Some of the front runners, obviously, you'll see in the beginning portion of race number 2, starting in those front 4 rows or so, are going to be competitive. But I think from top to bottom in this first field, a lot of fun is going to be had as far as who is going to step up and potentially win this race. Now, we do have points on the line for the top 10 positions in each dual race, just like we would for stages 1 and 2 throughout the course of all 26 races this year. We will have stage points awarded for the dual race, 10 points for a win, and only 1 point for finishing 10th, 1 point per position, of course, through there. So we've been doing that the last few years with the dual races at Daytona, kind of leading to a sense of urgency and a reason to really have to try to run well, and especially in a points format where we are going to have consistency from start of the season to the end of the first 26 races by way of the top 16 in points making the chase. It all starts right now on this Thursday night. Justin, thanks for tuning in. Duel started yet? No, not yet. I believe at 7:20 Eastern is the drop of the green flag for the first race. It's about 20 minutes from now. Gonna start calling Ryan Blaney El Hombre. Yeah, he's got a very thick mustache, to say the least. We were talking about it last night during the stream. We might have even talked about it during the Clash a bit as well. Select other NASCAR 25 streams, perhaps. I think Kyle Busch needs to drop to the back, start and save his car. I mean, that is a tactic, obviously, that we usually see from the front row sitters, but with points on the line in the duels nowadays, I'm not going to say that that's necessarily a given. Bond1771, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hitting the like button as well. Earl Arnold Jr., also welcome to the stream. Hi, Keegan, you should promote your league. Yeah, we have time to do that right now. I'll promote it. a couple times tonight since the league hasn't started yet. I haven't talked about it much because the league hasn't began, but if you're not in our KRC league, which is the fantasy league on NASCAR.com or the NASCAR mobile app, be sure to join. 2 tickets to win any NASCAR race if you're choosing the following season. If you win our regular season and or playoff championship, be sure to join before the Daytona 500. That will be the first race. The Clash was not a points-paying race, so it did not fall under the Fantasy League. And even though points are awarded for the top 10 positions in tonight's dual races, there is not going to be any points on the line for the KRC and Fantasy League here tonight. So KRC League is the name of the league. KRC in all capital letters, space capital L on league is the league name. I just put the name down in the chat. And how to get there, I'll show you real quick here on NASCAR.com. I guess it might be gridded out because I have the starting lineup scrolling across the stream. But anyway, there's going to be a fantasy tab, say on NASCAR.com or on the upper left-hand corner of the screen. If you're on your mobile app, it'll be Fantasy Live. You'll want to click that. And obviously, I don't have my team set up for the Daytona 500 yet, but there will be head-to-head picks every week, usually 4, 10 points per pick for bonus points. And then you have a starting roster that you can only start the same driver up to 10 times throughout the course of the regular season. And again, we will have a regular season and chase championship, I guess, if you will, starting this year. National anthem is about to begin, and as we get into the pre-race festivities, let's listen in.
Creator of heavens and earth, thank you for the gift of life, and thank you for bringing us here safely tonight. Heavenly Father, I pray for the men and women in uniform, those serving our country with pride and honor. And now I pray for each driver and each team member, protect each one of them. And we pray these things in your holy name. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Miss America, Cassie Donegan.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the o'er the roads we watched were so gallantly streaming. Keys are bursting in through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the red.
Awesome. All right, we are not far away from the drop of the green flag. We're about 15 minutes. We're about 15 minutes away from our first of 2 60-lap dual races this evening. Thank you to each and every one of you tuning in as we get our second day out of 5 of Speed Week continued onward here this Thursday night. Terry Lewis, Billy Kramer, also thanks for tuning in. Didn't give a chance to give you guys a shout out. Yeah, we've got almost 50 people in the chat. Greatly appreciate everybody tuned in for tonight's action. We had a big gathering yesterday for our pole qualifying, and I think we're going to have a big crowd here on hands for today's race in the chat. I'm excited for this one. I know many of you are as well. We get to see racing for the first time at Daytona this weekend. 4 days worth of racing, 2 races tonight. We got 1 truck race tomorrow. We got 2 races on Saturday, and the big one, the Daytona 500 on Sunday. Be live for all of it. Can't wait. Robert Goodrich, welcome to the stream. So we'll go over the starting lineup for today's dual race number 1, which again is scrolling across the top of the screen currently. We'll go more in depth here with all 23 drivers in this first race. Starting off with pole sitter Kyle Busch, who is on the pole for the first time in Daytona 500 history, his 21st attempt at the race. Ryan Preece, who flipped in last year's Daytona 500, a winner of the Clash about a week ago, is starting on the outside of row 1 in second. And I will say also Ryan Preece is my pick to win tonight's race. He showed a lot of single car speed, obviously. Great momentum based off of the Clash. I know it's obviously not the same track as Daytona, but the RFK Fords are usually very, very fast at Daytona. It's usually them and the Penske Fords that kind of lead the way, and they were outpacing the Penske Fords yesterday in that single car qualifying, which is usually not the case. So maybe a slight upper edge, I'd say, to RFK with Preece up there. He's got both of his teammates in this race as well. Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski are in this race. Corey LaJoie going to have to fend off with them as well. So a fourth entry for RFK. All 4 of them are in this first event. Very coincidental that they all qualified on the inside lane of the initial qualified for the 500 for that to happen. Kind of the same for JGR in race 2. Onward to row number 2. Corey High making his 8th career Cup start, first career Daytona 500. He kind of shocked the world last night. Open entry, qualified his way in on time. That maybe wasn't surprising. The surprising part is the fact he qualified top 5 for his first ever Daytona 500, especially when all of his 2311 teammates qualified very deep in the field. He only has one of those teammates in this first race. 4 Toyotas in general out of the 23 cars in race 1. They're outnumbered, so the odds are going to be stacked against the rookie despite starting out in front. Alex Bowman, who had a great qualifying effort, not as good as what we usually see at Daytona with his 6 front row starts, but he is starting row 2 in dual race number 1 on the outside of that row. Chris Buescher, a 2022 dual race winner, and Joey Logano, another former dual race winner at Daytona on the outside of row 3. Of course, 500 champion is Logano back in 2015. Austin Dillon, Corey LaJoie make up row number 4. LaJoie having to race his way in tonight. He is the first or highest starting of the open entries that are not locked into the show in this first duel. Austin Dillon, the 2018 Daytona 500 champion, going to try to get up there with his teammate Kyle Busch early on. In row 5 will be John Hunter Nemechek, another one of the few Toyotas, and Brad Keselowski, of course, teammate of both Buescher and Preece, all starting up inside the top 10, all 4 RFK Fords. In row 6 will be Ryan Blaney and William Byron. Stacked row, a lot of prestige at Daytona on the line. Each of those 2 drivers have 5 wins at Daytona combined in points-paying races. They both each have a dual win as well, which actually came in 2018, the same year they won both of their duels. In row number 7 will be Cole Custer and Cody Ware. 2-time Daytona 500 champ in 06 and 2013 is Jimmy Johnson, and Bubba Wallace on the outside of row number 8. Wallace, another former duel winner. Actually won a race at Daytona last year in the duels. In row number 9 will be AJ Allmendinger and Ross Chastain. Row number 10 for Shane Van Gisbergen and Daniel Suarez. And row number 11 is going to be Chandler Smith and Casey Mears. Those are 2 open entries. So again, they're battling with Corey LaJoie. Top finisher of those 3 open entries in this first race advanced to the Daytona 500. The other 2 will go home early. And Noah Gragson, who got DQ'd in qualifying yesterday for having his hand on the window net, was disallowed his lap. He qualified last of 45 drivers, so he starts last in dual race number 1 in 23rd, row number 12. So that is your 23 car lineup for dual race number 1 at Daytona. I'll keep the scrolling leaderboard up at the top of the screen until this race starts, and then I'll take it off and you'll be able to see the lap counter. Phone's going crazy right now. I don't know if you can hear the vibrating. Keep getting a bunch of notifications right at race time. Go figure. Can't wait for tomorrow. Cletus brought personality back to NASCAR. Well, I will say it's a very hyped field for the truck race tomorrow. You got Cletus McFarland, all-star cast. Tony Stewart's back. Then you also, of course, got Travis Pastrana and the usual suspects that we'll see in the Truck Series all season. Here's the command to fire engines.
Jared Purdue, joined by the United States Air Force Thunderbirds. Drivers,
All right, engines are fired. That means cars are going to be rolling on the racetrack any minute here, and this is going to be an exciting night of action. Greetings to those of you still just tuning in and the opening minutes of the stream. Already up to 34 likes. Our goal is going to get to try to get to 100 likes on tonight's stream. Not going to be easy with it being a midweek stream, but we were able to do so last night with qualifying. So see if we can go 2 days in a row, 100 likes. Start times for the rest of Speed Week are in the community tab, but while we have a little bit of downtime, your start times for the rest of Speed Weeks, other than tonight and obviously what happened yesterday on track, will be live for the Truck Series race tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We will also be live for a doubleheader on Saturday afternoon with ARCA at noon and the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at 5 p.m. Eastern. Again, doubleheader, 2 separate streams on Saturday. And then we'll be live, of course, for the Daytona 500 Sunday. And our special start time will be at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We will be live more than 1 hour before the drop of the green flag for Sunday's Great American Race. 45 entries, the most that we've seen in the next-gen era at Daytona. 4 drivers will be going home tonight. 2 from each duel. And we will have 1 driver of the open entries from each duel advancing to the 500. And again, Corey Heim and Justin Allgaier qualified their way in. Corey Heim will be starting inside of row 2 for race 1. Justin Allgaier will be in the second race later tonight. Track conditions right now, we've got the ambient temp right around 70 degrees, I believe just south of 70 degrees as we're in the full nighttime skies. John Barber, welcome in. Got your snacks and Pepsi Zero ready. I've got the cashews for between streams. Will be my snack time. I haven't eaten enough today. I had a couple slices of pizza for lunch earlier, and that's really about it. I'm way behind on calories today. So I'll end up snacking between races. We'll obviously be live for both races on this stream, so won't have to go anywhere. Regina Huddleston, thanks for tuning in. Trivia will be fun this year. Yes, it will. Dale Campbell, thanks for tuning in. Pulling for Ross. William Walton Jr., welcome to the stream as well. Frank Powers, missed you in there. I'm ready. I am ready. This is going to be a lot of fun. Connor Burke, welcome to the stream. So Corey LaJoie, Chandler Smith, and Casey Mears are the 3 drivers in dual race number 1 competing for that final transfer spot. Based off qualifying speed yesterday, Corey Heim quite a bit quicker. The draft is a great equalizer that we know at a track like Daytona. So you can't count either Mears or Chandler Smith out of it by any means. We've seen Front Row Motorsports have great equipment at Daytona. Of course, Michael McDowell winning the Daytona 500 back in 2021. Chandler Smith has failed to make the 500 in each of the last 2 years. His only 2 attempts to try to make this race. And as for Corey LaJoie, he did qualify into the Daytona 500 last year through the duels with Rick Ware Racing, this year trying to do it with RFK. Casey Mears in the 66 for MBM. That team has missed the 500 each of the last 3 years, so this is going to be the first attempt for Mears in that car, as he'll be looking for his 495th career NASCAR Cup Series start. Former runner-up in the Daytona 500 back in 2006 to Jimmy Johnson. First actual points race? Yes. Yep. 1 point per position for the top 10. 10 points for first, 1 point all the way back to 10th. Here's Kyle Busch in his car with an interview on the parade laps.
To win this race, what's the plan?
Yeah, great question. I think we're just going to kind of play that by ear. I don't think there really is a plan. So we obviously want to race a little bit, get a good handle on feel on what the race car drives light here in the draft a little bit. You know, if it gets a little too crazy and they get 3 wide and we're in the middle of something, you know, we got to try to get out of there and preserve the race car to be able to start up front right here when we come to the race on Sunday.
All right, Kyle. Well, Kevin and I are in a kind of a unique position up here because we've driven for that guy, Richard Childress, before. What did he tell you to do? He sometimes gets a little nervous in these situations.
Yeah, he left it to us. He said, I've done this too many times before, and I was wrong too many times before. So this is on you guys. I'll believe in your plan. So here we go. But yeah, thanks to RC and everybody at RCR and ECR for building a really fast zone Chevrolet to put it on the field. They should all be proud. We want to keep it that way and, you know, start first on Sunday.
Well, congratulations. Do your thing, man. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a look at tonight's America 250 Florida Dual 1 starting grid.
That's a mouthful.
Kyle.
I'm not going to say all that. I'm just going to say the duel at Daytona. I don't know why it's called 250. Probably for the combined mileage, it's 125 miles per race. 250 total if you take the 60 and 60. But it's just weird that the title sponsor is 250. I've never seen it like that. Usually it's 125. Jose Colon, thanks for tuning in. Go Tigers. Yeah, they signed Justin Verlander the other day. Back with the team he started with. Wonder if it's going to be his final season. Am I going to have to get another up-to-date Justin Verlander jersey? Because I was younger the last time he played for him, and I grew out of the jersey. Doesn't fit me anymore, too small. I think I gave it to my sister, actually. Because it didn't fit me anymore. So now her jersey's dated again. All right. And Framber Valdez, yes. Scooble's back. Won his arbitration. Interesting rotation this year, to say the least. But they got a couple injuries. Job's out. Reese Olson's out. Richard Jones, thanks for tuning in. Joey Logano with the clean head. Look what get adjusted to. Listen, as a bald man myself, I completely get it. It takes a minute to get used to. I've only been shaving my head for about the last year and a half to 2 years. And I'm 26, so for the first 24 to 24 and a half years of my life, I had hair. So it is very weird to get used to the shaved head look. I'd say I'm still not completely used to it. It's a hidden identity of mine to wear the hat all the time. I've kind of kept it as a staple of the channel. Like, people outside of the YouTube channel have seen me bald without a hat on. But I kind of find it funny that I'm always wearing a hat on these streams. It's for a reason. I'm going to break the internet first time it comes off. Zealot's trying to qualify for the 500. No, he's already locked in. All 3 Trackhouse Chevys are locked in. They are chartered entries for this weekend. So Zilich and Heim will be the only 2 locked-in rookies of the Daytona 500 so far. If Chandler Smith qualifies for the 500, he would be the 3rd rookie in the race. As for everybody but Chandler Smith, of the other 5 drivers trying to race for those final 2 spots to make the Daytona 500, they have had at least 1 Daytona 500 start before. Modern Genetics also, thanks for tuning in. Cheers. I'm curious to see how Brad Keselowski's going to do tonight. Broken leg and all. Just RFK as a whole, their job is going to be to get Corey LaJoie in the show tonight. Obviously, they're going to try to vouch for all the points they can. I mean, that is one of the B-tier teams that they're not all going to be necessarily guaranteed spots into the chase. I mean, nobody's going to be guaranteed even if they win right off the rip, for instance, but most points possible here. And again, it's just like a stage, 10 points for the race win. It's not 65 like you're going to see throughout the course of the season, where it's exponentially more points than second place in a race. Lights are out on the pace car. They will be going green this time by. All right. I'm ready to go. Hopefully you all are too. 23 cars, race number 1. This will set up the inside row for the Daytona 500. And we're going to lock up our final spot for the Great American Race as well. 41 drivers will start on Sunday's race. 38 locked in. Who will be the last, at least from this duel, to make it in? Kyle Busch elects the outside of row 1 for the initial start, alongside with his Chevy behind him of Alex Bowman, trying to get the Chevrolets lined up early. Green flag in the air. We are underway. And we are racing for the first time at Speed Week 2026. Bowman in the 48 trying to close the gap to the back of the 8 car of Kyle Busch, but doesn't give him a bump draft off into the first turn as everybody's still trying to get to speed and stay organized. Bottom lane, a little bit more gaps between those cars than the more organized outside groove. The rookie Corey Heim getting pushed from behind already by Austin Dillon. Very lightly down the back straightaway. It wasn't much. It was just a slight tap more than anything. Priest pulling back along the inside of Busch into turns 3 and 4 as he's going to try to lead the opening lap of the race. Shortest way around the racetrack. He's got about a half a car length out in front of Kyle. Off the exit of turn 4, Busch is going to get the pullback from the bank in on the high side, and we'll see if Alex Bowman will give him a shove. He is not very patient and tentative at the front of the field. Not a lot of pushing going on opening lap. Ryan Priest does lead lap 1 by 0.13 of a second. So Priest leads lap 1. Kyle Busch in second after starting on the pole. Priest obviously was on the inside of row number 1, started in second place. H. Holly D, thanks for tuning in as well. Subrating Daytona with a chocolate cake. Awesome. I mean, that screams like almost like birthday-like to me, and it does have a birthday party atmosphere. Beginning of the year, it's definitely a party in Daytona. And I'm sure there's a fair share of fans that will be partying there all week. All 23 cars are staying in this lead draft. Nobody has dropped back in the first 2 laps. Ryan Priest has led each of the first couple of laps of the race, so he hasn't been able to pull clear of Kyle Busch yet, and staying gridlocked down on the bottom of the racetrack as well. I notice the raw feed is not working, just like it wasn't for the Clash, so I just got this leaderboard. Unfortunately, there's an ad like right in the middle of it, so you can only see like 6, really the top 5 on our screen as far as what you can see. I'll get the starting lineup off the top of the screen for you as well, so you can see the lap counter as we are a couple laps in. Priest and Busch up at the front of the field, all 2 by 2. Nobody's tried to venture out to get a third line formed yet. And as I'm looking at the lap times, it doesn't look like there's really any fuel saving going on right now either. This is a one-stop race in both duels of 60 laps. Not going to be able to make it on a full tank of gas to the end, but we have seen some fuel-saving strategies at Daytona in the last couple of years with this next-gen car. And we saw it in the duels last year, but right now Kyle Busch and Ryan Priest have been pushing the pace. Priest was able to pull clear of Kyle Busch through the tri-oval the last time by and slid up in front of him to the outer lane. So now the rookie Corey Heim is going to lead way on the bottom with the other Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet of Austin Dillon. So both the RCR cars are split up, and both of them are in the second row of their line. Heim to the lead at Daytona through 3 and 4 after a masterful push by Austin Dillon. The first major bump draft we've really seen at the front of either line in these first 4 laps. Though it's Austin Dillon who will lead the lap after Corey Heim pulled clear of Ryan Priest. He moved up in front of him. Austin Dillon had a huge run still on the bottom after pushing the 67 car forward. Dillon moving to the front of the line, and he's got John Hunter Nemechek coming with him. Austin Dillon now moves up, and John Hunter Nemechek will slide through to the bottom with the Penske Fords behind him of Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano, who started in the back half of the field and have already ventured their way to the front. everybody that pulls clear on that inside lane keeps moving up into the outside, and they just keep moving that next car back. Kyle Busch, who was leading at the start, didn't actually lead a lap, but he's now the 4th car in line on the top, in front of Alex Bowman, who started on the outside of row 2 and has been stuck behind him. Usually you would see that happen on the bottom lane, but it has been the bottom moving forward and pushing the top back rather than the other way around. And with Nemechek out in front, we'll see if he can keep that number 42 Toyota Camry in front of the rest. Again, there are only 4 Toyotas in this first duel, so they are very much outnumbered. Pretty even split for the most part between Fords and Chevys, maybe slightly more Fords. Got 2 Penske Fords and all 4 RFK cars in this race. Austin Dillon and Ryan Preece moving up into the 3rd lane, which was being formed by not Daniel Suarez, the 99 car is Corey LaJoie today. By Corey LaJoie and Brad Keselowski for RFK. Chris Buescher was also at the head of that line, so all 4 RFK Fords are now in one line on the outside. 2 of the Hendrick Chevys, Bowman and Byron, in this race are going to try to follow them. Austin Dillon, though, leading those 4 RFK Fords. I wonder if they're going to maybe try to hang him out to dry, if they could squeeze into the middle groove. Austin Dillon seems like he's been very aggressive in these opening laps. The fact that he bump drafted the 42 car forward, we hadn't really seen a bump draft before or since then. And we are still obviously very early in this 60 lap race, so not really like there's a sense of urgency right now. Casey Mears has worked his way up to 16th after starting at the tail end of the field in row number 11, just outside of the top 20. Chandler Smith is still outside the top 20 as we run, so Mears hanging on in that lead draft. Chandler Smith hanging out towards the back of it, and Corey LaJoie up towards the front of the field on the outside of the 4th row, sitting around 7th or 8th. Austin Dillon is pulled back to the outside of Nemechek, who has led the last few laps. So now they're side by side for the lead again as they exit off of turn 2, middle of lap 8. And now it looks like there's another bump draft, and this time it's to the back of the 3 car of Austin Dillon in that outside lane. Ryan Preece will move him forward, and Dillon is clear of the pack again into turn 3. Only for the shortest way around the track, and John Hunter Nemechek to close in. But more tightly bumper to bumper are those outside lane cars, so through the trioval, they should be able to power back past Nemechek again on the exit of the front stretch entrance of turn 1, just like they did going into turn 3. And yep, Dillon is clear, but he's not going to move down and try to block. He's going to stay in that outside lane and keep things organized for the time being. Top 5 in the running order at the end of the 8th lap was Austin Dillon in the lead, Ryan Preece 2nd, Chris Buescher 3rd, Corey LaJoie 4th, and John Hunter Nemechek in 5th. Chandler Smith now up to 19th, maybe slowly trying to work his way forward. The underdog of those 3 would definitely be Casey Mears in the 66 by way of equipment. Top 4 cars are single file along the outside line, as Ryan Blaney has not given the 42 of Nemechek a push in front of him, and they're not really able to get that line forward right now because of the lack of aggression. Veterans of Blaney and Logano not trying to be too aggressive too early in this 60-lap duel. Full screen commercial break on Fox Sports 1, which is where you can watch visually, obviously right here on KRC. We'll be live all night long. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We'll take our first break listening live on the channel. So dual racing at Daytona. RFK leads the way. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once they got single file, looks like they might have hung Austin Dillon out to dry. Dillon was leading when they cut to commercial. Now Preece is out in front with Buescher, LaJoie, and Keselowski behind him. So 1, 2, 3, 4 for the RFK Fords. I picked Ryan Preece to win this race. So I know it's only lap 11, but I feel good about at least RFK up towards the front. Doing a great job. Under the newly rebranded RFK, they have won 2 dual races since 2022 in the next-gen era. Keselowski has 1 and Chris Buescher has 1. So despite the fact that the Penske Fords didn't look as good in qualifying, RFK did a pretty good job holding their end of the bargain up in single car speed. And here in this race, the Fords have risen to the front. Very reminiscent of things that we had seen with this next-gen car in the last few years on these drafting ovals of Daytona, Talladega, and Atlanta. Kenneth Clark, welcome to the stream. How am I doing tonight? I've had a very, very busy day, but I am here, and I am, well, now that there are cars going in circles on the racetrack, and I can call the race for you guys. I'm in my peacefulness now. It's very peaceful here. So LaJoy up in the third place position, safe for right now, but obviously a long ways to go. Chandler Smith, Casey Mears are 15th and 16th, trying to chase him for that final transfer spot, at least for Duel 1, to make the Daytona 500. Those are the three, only one of them will get in. It's just the highest finisher in each duel. But they're all quick enough to at least stay in the draft, and there's really been no fuel saving. And the pace has quickened up quite a bit with the RFK Fords out in front versus when we saw Kyle Busch leading for those first couple of laps on the outside and Austin Dillon for a few laps. The lap times were in the 48.0s. We're now running about 47.9s with the RFK Fords leading the pack. And that is scary that they're able to control this race running even faster lap times at the front of the field than what some of the others were running at the front. It wasn't because of fuel saving. And yes, they did hang out Austin Dillon to dry. Really nothing Dillon could do there. Did the smart thing of not trying to make a huge block. Austin Dillon has slided himself all the way back into 8th. Still on the high side, Alex Bowman behind him, followed by William Byron, a few Chevrolets. They're side by side with Joey Logano for 7th, so the top 6 cars are single file. There's that random Toyota of John Hunter Nemechek kind of in that Ford brigade. He's splitting the 4 RFK Fords and the 2 Penske cars in this race. Noah Gragson, who started dead last in 23rd, also up inside the top 10 for Ford. Front Row Motorsports in the 10th spot. XX Larry, thanks for tuning in. MRN's live audio pop-up is down for you. Well, that stinks. At least you got my audio. It's radio-esque. I'm not saying that I do as good of a job as those guys. I only got one voice, but by way of not having the visuals and trying to paint the picture for you all at home the best I can, it's going to be very tough to dethrone the Fords. And again, just basing off a single car speed, I would favor RFK. And they've got the numbers game on Penske if it came down to it as well, 4-2. There's a slight split in the pack between those Fords and Nemechek, obviously, who's in the middle of it, and the cars that are running double wide, because Logano is now pulled clear of Austin Dillon in 7. So 7 cars are single file, and then it's Noah Gragson and Austin Dillon side by side, and pretty much the rest of the field is gridlocked 2 by 2 outside of those top 7 positions. 15 laps complete. About to be 16 at the line. Ryan Preece has led for 10 of the 16 laps, 3 for John Hunter Nemechek, and I believe Austin Dillon the other 3. Kyle Busch did not lead a lap from the pole. He is still in the pack, though, in 14th. He is the pole sitter for the Daytona 500, no matter of his finishing position tonight, as long as he stays incident-free, and obviously through practice doesn't have any kind of mechanical failure or an incident of any kind there as well. Or they would have to go to a backup car or make the adjustments necessary that are outside of the rule book to get the car ready for Sunday. Dean Tate, welcome in. Yep, Smith and Mears are moving up slightly. Smith, another Ford. So, maybe he can get with Corey LaJoie. I know it's not an RFK Ford, but he's trying to move up there. Austin Dillon and Alex Bowman have actually moved down to the bottom line behind Logano and Blaney. They were able to get in line in front of Noah Gragson. There are only about 5 or 6 cars on the outside lane, but they're all now outside the top 10. William Byron, the back-to-back Daytona 500 winner, is up there. And he's got Kyle Busch, the pole sitter for the race, right behind him. But Bowman's going to leave Busch, and the numbers are dropping for those outside lane cars. I think Bowman left the hole open for his teammate, and Byron slid down right in front of him in the 8th place position. Oh boy, moments ago. Big scary moment for Ryan Blaney. It was a huge closing rate for his teammate Joey Logano on entry into turn 3. Logano got in the back of Blaney. Luckily hit him square enough that didn't turn him around, but that is not the area of the track you want to get hit from behind. It was a big save that looked very minor because of how great of a job Ryan Blaney was able to do to keep his car straight and steady. And we race on. Busch, Custer, and Chandler Smith, the 3 cars in the outside lane. Corey Heim is up there with a few others behind them, but they're not very close. Very disconnected. Busch obviously has a very quick race car. We're going to see how quick if he can lead that outside line forward, even with the lack of race cars there. Now, he did pass Bowman Byron already after they moved to the bottom, and he's gotten to the outside of Logano without really getting a great push from Cole Custer. That is all the raw speed of that 8 car, pulling that very few, I can't even say it's a line of cars because of how much space there is between them. It's really 3, and then Corey Heim's kind of struggling to keep up. I noticed when Heim got to the lead, he obviously didn't lead a lap, moved up into the outside, and really backed them up more than any other car. I don't think that 67 is where they need it to be. Single car speed looked good. It could be a little too edgy in the draft, perhaps, and the higher speeds for him to be able to kind of stay tightly to the bumper of the cars in front of him. So I'm just trying to take control of it. And with such a short race, you only get one chance to really make any adjustments with one pit stop. It'll be interesting to see how long these guys are going to go. The fuel window is just about open to make it to the end of the race from right now. Pace is quickened since the top 4 cars had gotten single file and pulled away from the pack. Lap times for the leaders themselves down around 47.7s, 47.6s. They were in the 47.8s consistently before that. 188.8 plus mile per hour average. Looking at the best speed that we've seen so far, Shane Van Gisbergen, 189.6 mile per hour average. Cody Ware had 190.4 mile per hour average on a lap. So Cody Ware actually has the fastest lap so far in the race. Shows the best speed on my screen, but it doesn't show the best lap time. I got to go to the raw feed, which is now finally available, so I might be able to find that lap time for Cody Ware. 47.251 for Cody Ware, his fastest lap. Now, there isn't a bonus point for the fastest lap of the race, like you'll see during the other points races, so not for the duel. It's strictly just the top 10 in the finishing order. Yeah, so Smith kind of following Busch up there in that outside line. He was behind Custer, 3rd car up there. He's now in 13th, with Corey LaJoie still hanging out in 3rd. Most positions gained since the start of the race. Brad Keselowski up 6 spots. 8 positions gained for Chandler Smith and Noah Gragson from the tail end of the field. 9 spots lost for Ware. Jimmy Johnson has lost 7, kind of hanging out at the back maybe. 11 spots lost for Heim, who started in 3rd. Those are your biggest movers and losers so far in this one. Busch down 8 spots from the pole, but is a night back in the top 10. And trying to lead the outside line forward when they went to commercial moments ago. We'll stay right here. We'll go through the full field running order. That last time by at the line, we completed lap 23 of 60. Ryan Preece is in the lead. Chris Buescher 2nd. Corey LaJoie 3rd. And Brad Keselowski 4th. 1 through 4, RFK. Then you got Kyle Busch now up to 5th the last time by at the timing line. Jonathan Nemechek in 6th. Ryan Blaney 7th. Joey Logano 8th. Chandler Smith 9th. And Corey Heim rounds out the top 10. And 11th is Cole Custer. Bubba Wallace in 12th. William Byron 13th. Ross Chastain 14th. And Alex Bowman 15th. 16th is Shane Van Gisbergen. Austin Dillon 17th. 18th for Daniel Suarez. Noah Gragson 19th. AJ Allmendinger in 20th. Cody Ware 21st. 22nd, Casey Mears. Jimmy Johnson, 23rd. And that rounds out the field. Anyone in a must-win position to enter the fight? No. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on where Corey LaJoie and Chandler Smith end up finishing. They're both up inside the top 10 right now. Seven Fords inside the top 10, 2 Toyotas, 1 Chevy. That lone Chevy is Kyle Busch. He was in the outside lane when they went to commercial. He is now in the bottom behind the RFK Fords, all 4 of them. And the 2 Penske Fords of Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano, going to see what kind of speed they have in their Ford Mustangs to try to get that outside line back to the front. So Busch wasn't able to quite get to the RFK Fords, so he moved down in line when he had a chance to get in front of the Penske cars, and now we'll see if the other blue ovals can chase down the ones that lead the way. Coming up on 35 laps to go this time by. This race is flying by. We're almost halfway. Four-car breakaway with the field gridlocked and fading 2x2 further back. It's kind of a reminiscence of the 2018 Fall Talladega race when Stewart-Haas Racing and their 4 cars were able to just kind of have that stranglehold on the field. Quickly, the pack was able to catch back up to those front 4, but not enough so to make a move on them yet. Returns 1 and 2. Ryan Blaney to the outside of the 6 car of Keselowski, who's the last of the 4 RFK Fords in line. Corey LaJoie maybe thought about moving up to the outside. Thought better of it, moving back down. It could have been just a block to kind of stall out the momentum of the 12 and 22. It's really just Logano and Blaney because they are pulling away from the other Toyotas of Corey Heim and Bubba Wallace just behind him. Again, I just don't think that 67 car is ready for racing. Great single car speed last night, but he is struggling to keep up with cars in front of him in this draft when they're going 100%. And that's going to be noteworthy if he finds himself towards the front of the field late in this race. And I don't know that I'm going to want that 67 car either behind or in front of me. It might be a little on the sketchy side, and it's probably not good that he's a rookie and has never raced at Daytona in a next-gen car. He has ran 8 next-gen races in the last couple of seasons, but none on a drafting oval. Logano and Blaney are gridlocked down the back straightaway, and they're bumper to bumper, locked on. Logano is giving him the best pushes he can, but with not enough help also behind those 2 cars and the fast speed overall of those front 4. This is a very difficult task. Now, the good news is we do have to have green flag pit stops at some point in time if we don't catch a caution. That could disorganize the field enough, and depending on how the RFK Fords cohesively can get on and off of pit road, that might be a chance to leapfrog in front of them. DC Long, thanks for tuning in. Ryan Preece has the fastest lap of the race as the leader. You don't see that too often at Daytona. Lap 25 was his best lap of the race as the leader. That's scary. Usually you see the fastest laps of the race by guys in the draft or hanging out at the back and getting a big run. When the leader's running the fastest lap of the race, that's why we haven't seen any movement. And it's not because these next-gen cars are difficult to pass. It's the 4 cars that are leading the way are just that much better than the rest of the field. And if you're looking for a pick to win the Daytona 500 this weekend, you might have to look at one of those 4 cars. Preece, Busch, LaJoie, and Keselowski, because they definitely seem to be the best. And when you get all 4 of them at the front like you see now in this duel, it could be game over. Anybody hear anything on Heim's radio on where the car is struggling? Yeah, I don't have the audio input on that, so I can't relay that message. And I obviously haven't been able to listen to any of the broadcast yet, so. Definitely seems like he's struggling. He just is unable to keep up with the pack in front of him. Slide my screen over a little bit. I didn't realize the numbers on the position order were off screen. Up to 57 likes on our goal to get to 100 tonight. Greatly appreciate that, everybody. We're halfway home, 30 laps down, 30 to go in dual race number 1 at Daytona. Your top 10 is Ryan Preece in the lead, Chris Buescher second, Corey LaJoie third, Brad Keselowski fourth, Kyle Busch in fifth, John Hunter Nemechek sixth, Ryan Blaney seventh, Chandler Smith is now up to 8th place, Joey Logano rounds out the top 10, 13 positions gained for Smith, most of any driver in the race. Most spots lost. It looks like Alex Bowman has lost 12 positions, most of any driver. And Ryan Preece has led all but 6 side of row 1 for the start of the race. We'll take another quick break. You're listening live on KRC. Here's a full flag-to-flag coverage of both dual races at Daytona for the 500 continue. Red velvet cookies with cream cheese icing. That sounds delish. I'm not a big sweets guy, but it's giving me an appetite. Just over 100 now in the chat. We're up to 63 lights. Greatly appreciate that, everybody. There's a big spike there. Thank you so much. Let me check to see how many we ended up with last night if we get to 100 and see if what our number to beat is on the season. Because I know we had more than the Clash. So the Clash, we had 110. We had 135 last night. So 135 is the number to beat on likes for the season so far. And, well, 142 technically for the Rolex 24 live stream, but that was also 24 hours. So I guess if we really want to be special here, 142 is our season high. Try to keep track of that all year. Kind of set some records as we watch records be broken on live television every weekend. But maybe not every weekend, but throughout the season, we could potentially see records and some kind. All right, this is interesting. Chandler Smith is only 4 cars on that bottom lane behind Corey LaJoie. So he's worked himself up into a pretty good spot right now, leading into green flag pit stops, which should be coming in less than 15 laps at the very most. With the pace these guys are running up at the front of the pack, I can see them pitting closer to about lap 40. And that's only 6 laps away from now. As we complete lap 33, it's still the 60 car out in front, with Buescher in second, LaJoie third, Keselowski fourth.
Pushing the heck out of that 12 car. See him right here. He gets that run up on the back of the 12 again, but that hood on that 12 car or the 22 car Clint.
Well, it just shows you the power that he's able to push in that car. We've seen that before, but I tell you, I've been watching, riding along with Ryan Blaney. And the flip side of this conversation, you ought to see his eyes inside this car. Let's see if we can get that.
See him right here. He gets that run up on the back.
You can handle that.
Yeah, well, and as hard as they're working, it makes me wonder about the speed of those cars. I know that the guys on the bottom of the racetrack are formed up pretty good, but typically when you start pushing like this and you see Logano is doing his job, you just don't want to have spacing in between those cars. You want to have that space as limited as possible through the corners. And as soon as you exit that corner, right back to the bumper on the car in front of you, to maximize that push down the straightaway. You don't want to put them in a bad position in the corner, but you want to be able to utilize the straightaway like they're doing right here.
So those Penske Fords are working as hard as they can to hold pace with the K Fords lined up out front. Here it is. Watch Ryan Blaney as you're riding along inside that car. Watch his eyes. 22 gets to him. He'll hear that spotter tell him, here he comes, big push, and he gets pretty nervous. His eyes get a little bigger.
Well, and Kyle Busch, you see our pole sitter, the Daytona 500 right there in the 8 car, now pulled up in front of Ryan Blaney. He wasn't going anywhere on the bottom lane because he knows those RFK team cars aren't going to leave each other hanging this early in the race. So when you have somebody that's lined up and see him coming on the outside, the best thing to do is move up in front of him and try to be the leader of that line.
I agree. Good move by Busch, and it's probably unexpected if you're Blaney. Okay, yeah, me and my teammate are doing just fine out here on the outside. Oh, what's he doing? I got to push him past the other Fords. I'm in trouble.
Well, let's not forget about that Chevrolet body change and the different shapes of those front and back bumpers.
not only are the teams that run Chevrolets learning about their cars, but the other competitors. Ryan Blaney right now is trying to understand exactly how I can push this Chevy, because in the past it hasn't been great to push all over the place, might spin him out. So he's going to take this opportunity, give him a little bump here, give him a little bump there, and eventually that becomes more and more aggressive as you get more comfortable.
Or get a gap, right? What you see here, and as my teammate, comes to my bumper, push me on by him and make a move. But I don't think that'll happen because there's only two of those Fords now on that outside. And now Bubba Wallace, even behind Logano, may or may not go with him. So kind of put yourself in a situation where we're just going to ride right here. Won't be long till we're talking about pits. That's when I start thinking about Chandler Smith. I heard you talk about that, Mike. I like where he's out on the bottom. I like that he's got cars both in front of him and behind him. Just make sure that you do not slide the tires or do the things that you need to do. Get some temperature in those brakes and make sure that you do not speed on pit road.
Now, what we are used to seeing when we have green flag pit stops in the dual race is the manufacturers will want to pit each of their cars together, but not with the opposing manufacturers.
Well, Crew Chief, what are you thinking, buddy?
Well, business has picked up. The entire field here at lap 36 and 37 just ran their fastest lap.
Wow, fastest laps of the race for a lot of the drivers in the pack. Just saw the leader put down a 46.952 at lap 37. And that pretty much kind of tailed everybody behind them to run very similar lap times, or at least of their best as well. So maybe they were saving a little bit early in the run, knowing that they were running 48s, and then when the RFK Fords got out in front, they were kind of running in the mid 47s. They picked up about 6 to 7 tenths of a second from where they were running at once. 3 wide towards the back of the lead pack has allowed for the front 6 cars on the bottom lane to pull forward. Scratch that, it'd be 7 cars back to Logano in 7th. Bubba Wallace, Corey Heim, and William Byron were up in that 3rd line. And even just running side by side compared to how fast those RFK Fords are to run single file, you see that, and then they just go backwards in a hurry. Joey Logano, who's in that bottom lane, maybe going to try to get a pull off of those cars in front of him, and then he'll have his teammate up there to go with him if they choose. He also could have been trying to get to the bottom now, knowing that green flag pit stops are going to be coming up very soon. We're already down to 20 laps to go this time by. And Logano does move up in front of Blaney. Bush up to block the 22 car. Oh boy. Back down to the bottom. And it's a 5-car breakaway now. That was dysfunctional. Bush was able to get back to the bottom. There was no contact between Bush and Logano, but when Logano went wide, Bush tried to hop up in front of him and instead almost sideswiped him and pinched the 22 against the wall. Able to get out of it, and they are gaining ground back to the leaders, at least to keep up with them, but not to get alongside of them. I'm also wondering, with those front 4 cars running the pace that they have, I would assume they're going to have to pit first. They're all going to pit at once. I would highly doubt that all 4 of the RFK Fords are not going to pit at the same time. Who comes with them versus trying to run an alternate strategy to maybe leapfrog them? Cody Ware with the fastest lap time of the race yet again, which would be a 46.708 towards the tail end of this lead pack. That's a best lap speed average of 192.686 miles per hour. Logano Blaney still up on the outside and still gridlocked with where Kyle Busch is in 6th on the bottom lane as he tries to draft off Jonathan Nemechek. Nemechek has been able to kind of hang in there with the Fords. He was sandwiched between the Penske's and the RFK cars earlier. Now he's still behind the RFK Fords. But when they pull away, he's kind of keeping up with them. With only 4 Toyotas in the field, it's going to be very interesting to see when they come to pit road. With how fast the RFK cars are, I would pit with them if you could. Especially if you're Nemechek and you're actually up there with them, you can be close enough to try to make that sudden move onto pit road. And sure, as soon as the hands go out the window, they're going to be ready. And it may be disguised. It might be a late hand out the window. I don't think they're going to be down the back straightaway with their hands out the windows well in advance. Penske cars able to get back down to the bottom of Logano and Blaney, right behind Kyle Busch. Top 9 cars single file. Chandler Smith, one of the open cars, are right behind them. The 12 and the 22, that is in 9th place. As he's still very much in it with Corey LaJoie. We've talked about RFK dominating this race, but they still got to get Corey LaJoie in the Daytona 500. Obviously, so far so good, but we still got to execute these green flag pit stops. We're down to 17 laps to go. Any lap, they're going to be headed for pit road. Casey Mears, the other open driver, he was as high as about 13th in the running order at one point. He's currently 18th, but also in the lead pack, so can't leave him out of it. It's going to be a splash and go only stop, just enough fuel to get to the end. Who can get on and off of pit road with no issues? And try to make this Daytona 500. Nobody pitting this time by. 16 laps to go. Man, we're not going to have many laps left when they get done with this. The wave of pit stops, and I doubt everybody's coming at once. That'd be a madhouse, and I don't expect they would get through there without an incident if that happened. 4-car breakaway at the front. Nemechek is losing him. And he's kind of backing up Busch, Blaney, Logano on the inside. Cole Custer up high with Alex Bowman and Austin Dillon. And the hand is out the window for Brad Keselowski. The RFK Fords will be coming in this time. Will be coming up on 15 laps to go. Can they get to pit road with no hiccups? Nemechek's going to come with them. Kyle Busch evades to the outside. Oh, coming in hot is Casey Mears, and he turns the 4 of Noah Gragson. They're sliding through the infield grass on the front stretch. We are still green for now. We'll see if they can get out of the grass. Leaders are just coming up off of turn 2. That would be Cole Custer out in front now. Of those that stayed out that last time by, Casey Mears is still spinning around in the grass. Gragson looks to be bottomed out stuck with his front tires in the asphalt. NASCAR's really trying to give him enough time, but as the leaders are getting through 3 and 4, I think they're going to have to throw the caution, and they do. They gave them about 3/4 of a lap, but it doesn't look like Casey Mears is getting out. I think Gregson's finally gotten his way out as he backed it to pit road. Must have had some rain dampening the grass on the front stretch or something throughout the course of the week. So caution is out for the first time late in this duel, and that's going to set up a sprint for the finish. 2-car incident entering pit road between Noah Gragson and Casey Mears. Casey Mears coming in hot, kind of clipped Gragson in the left rear. Around they go. I do believe with Mears being stuck in the grass that he just fell a lap down under caution, with the leaders being where they were. So now his chances to make the Daytona 500 are not looking very good. It's going to be a miracle at this point because he's going to restart a lap down and they're going to have less than 10 to go. So with the leaders who had already been to pit road, Ryan Preece appeared to have been off of pit road first, so he should be the leader. The top 13 stayed out of the pits entirely. They're all going to have to pit under caution. So it'll be Preece, Buescher, LaJoie, Logano, Keselowski should be the top 5. So Preece, who was the leader when everything started, he'll still be the leader. And Chandler Smith was in that group of cars that did pit. He is only about 4 positions behind Corey LaJoie right now. Let's take a look.
Good on it, Mears, right back here.
Casey Mears, Noah Gragson.
Yeah, just got in there too hot. Locked the brakes up, trying to avoid the 4-car. Lost control of the back, and that's where the contact came from. But that's purely just from the inexperience of doing this every week.
There you see the race off. Preece was way late leaving the box.
Through nobody's fault, just having to take on more fuel than
That's
the others.
that's the price you pay for leading.
We'll sort out Logano and Busher here at the exit line to pit road. And pit road is open for everybody who did not stop under green or anybody who wants to come back in. Cole Custer, Bowman, Dillon, Byron.
Don't fly them, two.
Time stops for fuel. All the tire changes. Old Sir Kyle Busch.
And put tires on Hyman there, the rookie. Probably a good move, Kev.
Yeah, he was struggling earlier, so he probably wants grip.
Under caution for the first time, Casey Mears into Noah Brexit, bringing out the yellow.
All right, so we'll wait for our leaderboard to update. There was some shaking around in the running order for Fox's graphic right before pit road opened, so I don't know that Priest is going to be the leader anymore when it looked like he was out in front on the graphic initially. So we'll just wait for them to come back to the start-finish line this time by. That'll reorganize the running order, and then we'll see from there what we're looking at. Super Speedway brake calipers and pads are much smaller. Here's put too much faith in them. Yep. Yeah, and as they were mentioning, not running these cars, often probably doesn't help with that. Mears did race at Talladega in the fall last season, so he has ran a drafting oval with the next gen, and it was actually with the 66 team as well for MBM, but trying to remember back, maybe they didn't have green flag pit stops that day. It definitely caught him by surprise. When do trucks qualify? Tomorrow afternoon. So Cup Series has a second practice session tomorrow. We're not going to be live for that. I'm not going to be home while that is going on. So I'll be back for the truck race tomorrow night, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Joey Logano going to be the leader on the restart as he was first after cycling off of pit road. So the RFK Fords are split up a bit, but it is all Fords in the front 6 spots. They all came to pit road simultaneously. So Logano will be first, then Chris Buescher in second, Brad Keselowski third, Ryan Blaney in fourth, Corey LaJoie fifth, Ryan Preece is sixth, seventh for John Hunter Nemechek, Chandler Smith in eighth, Austin Dillon ninth, Kyle Busch rounds out the top 10, 11th Cole Custer, Bubba Wallace in 12th, William Byron 13th, 14th Alex Bowman, Shane Van Gisbergen in 15th, Cody Ware 16th, Daniel Suarez 17th, 18th for Ross Chastain, AJ Allmendinger 19th, Corey Heim in 20th. He took tires on pit road. Jimmy Johnson and Noah Gragson came back down for tires as well in 21st and 22nd. Gragson slid through the grass. He is still in the lead lap. Casey Mears is not. He is one lap down in 23rd. So Mears, one of the open drivers, not looking good to try to make the Daytona 500 for him. It's going to be a miracle. As for Daniel Suarez, or not, I keep calling him Daniel Suarez, 99 car, Corey LaJoie. That's the second time. That's strike 2. Suarez is in the 7th in this race. I'm already not used to it. That's the only driver change full-time in Cup, too. So it's only driver change, and I keep messing it up. Chandler Smith is in 8th place. Corey LaJoie in 5th. And with this being a restart, Chandler Smith probably now more than ever has a better chance of trying to keep up with it. That caution in the middle of green flag pit stops is not what RFK needed.
We go. That's cool. First time I've seen that.
Yeah, it's
Fixed it.
the Baja kit.
Yes.
Well, we had so many problems with cautions coming out with cars getting stuck on the racetrack, so NASCAR and everybody created this lift kit to be able to get them off the ground and get them back to the pits.
Only 12 to go right here. Coming to the green, fellas.
Bubba Wallace, last year's winner of this race, in 12th place right now. Everybody's made their...
All right, pace cars already come to pit road. We're going to restart with 11 laps to go in dual race number 1 at Daytona to set up the inside line. So the winner of this race will be starting third unless it's Kyle Busch, who is already on the pole for Sunday afternoon's race. Both Penske Fords on the outside and RFK down on the bottom 3 cars. The other one, the odd man out on the outside, would be Ryan Preece in the 60. There's a hole open for him to get back down to the bottom if he chooses, but he's not going to do it, at least not yet. Jimmy Johnson not Jimmy Johnson, the 36 of Chandler Smith. Trying to stay tightly behind Priest. Gave him a push. Now Chandler Smith has cycled into the middle, and Priest has hung out to dry on the outside. Not sure if that was by design or not. I think he just wanted to break up the RFK Fords, maybe better his chances of trying to make the Great American Race. He's to the outside of the guy he needs to beat, Corey LaJoie. While Logano and Blaney up on the outside had a bit of a moment off turn 2, getting to speed with Blaney pushing the 22 of Logano, but they were able to stay on the gas, keep it going forward. Logano, who did not lead that lap in the line, does have a nose out in front into turn 1. Blaney has to stop the push entering the corner now as Logano lets go, and Chris Buescher, with his now already longtime teammate Brad Keselowski right there with him. The 22 and the 12 are dancing around a lot more on the outside when they're bump drafting than what the 17 and the 6 are down on the bottom. They're just more organized. Not a lot of movement. Not only there's a lot of speed in the 17 and the 6, but the handling is there. And that probably cohesively kind of equates to good speed, is having that handling ability. Chandler Smith, who started all the way back in row 11, 21st in this race. Corey LaJoie started in 7th, inside of row 4. Was up in the top 3 pretty much the entire race. With the caution, the reset. They're now side by side with 9 laps to go to try to make the Daytona 500. Joey Logano pulling clear of the pack. Ryan Blaney going to get a push now from Chandler Smith in the 36. Smith is going to push Blaney nearly into Logano. He has to lift. And here comes the inside line forward now because of that. Keselowski was on the 17 all the way down the backstretch. While Logano wasn't being pushed by Blaney, it was Blaney being pushed by the 36. Now Blaney's going to give Logano a shove. Logano is clear of the pack into the tri-oval. Half block, if you will, to the bottom on Chris Buescher. Back to the top in front of his teammate. I mean, ideally, if Logano really wants to try to settle it just between himself and Chris Buescher, that's probably the way to go about this. Outside lane, almost 3 cars pushing at once. Ryan Blaney, kind of the sandwich of it. Chandler Smith's got to be careful doing that. I've seen Blaney get turned multiple times on super speedways because of that very instance. It worked that time down the backstretch, and they're able to pull clear. By they, I mean the top 2, maybe even 3. Chandler Smith not quite clear of the 17. I think if Chandler Smith had the opportunity, he's going to move down in front of the RFK Fords. Kyle Busch is getting out of Dodge. He is not going to race for anything. He was just outside the top 10 on the bottom line, and he's bailing just in case there's an incident, so he keeps his front row starting spot for the 500. So Busch not going to try to go for those 10 points. Ryan Preece, after getting hung out on the restart on that outside lane 3 wide, is back to 17th. We'll keep an eye on him if he tries to move forward in the final 6 laps. Logano, Blaney clear of the pack, as well as Chandler Smith. They all move down in front of the RFK Fords. Chris Buescher going to get to the outside now of Chandler Smith. Brad Keselowski going to the bottom, gets forced below the double yellow line. A lot of contact between Smith and Keselowski, and somebody's going to get a penalty there. And I feel like it might be Chandler Smith. Smith forced the 6 car below the double yellow line going through the tri-oval, and if he gets penalized, that's going to cost him a spot in the Daytona 500. Alex Bowman in the 3rd line held out, really his own line. Nobody was with him. I don't know how that wasn't a wreck making the contact in the tri-oval like that, but Chandler Smith definitely forced the 6 down, it looked like. Brad made the move, and there was contact. NASCAR's going to have to make a decision at some point here. Right now, Chandler Smith and Corey LaJoie are back to being side by side again. Bubba Wallace inside of Joey Logano for the race lead and is clear of the pack off turn 2 as they have about 4.5 laps to go. Blaney going to try to push the 22 of Logano forward again. Wallace getting pushed by the 3 of Dillon sideways, and around he goes. And a crash up to the outside involving Byron, Busher, and Chandler Smith. Second caution of the race with 5 laps left. A little bit of damage on the 36. I think he's going to be able to continue. A bad push by Austin Dillon sends the 23 of Bubba Wallace around down the back straightaway to the infield. Window net down on Chris Busher, 17. And a very fast Ford Mustang at that.
Maybe take a triple. Caution with 4 laps to go, and Byron's car, cattywampus, broken toe link at least as he comes across. Chris Busher talking with the AMR safety team. Let's unpack this, fellas.
Much like I thought, that Bubba Wallace making that aggressive move, getting into 1 is a fantastic move, but it'll put him too far out in front of the 3 car. Here this train comes, boom, right there, turning sideways, gets sideways again, and finishes him off.
And Austin Dillon could see that coming, but Chris Busher could not see the distance to the back bumper of Bubba Wallace's car. So he thinks he's doing the right thing by continuing to push, but ultimately it doesn't let the 3 car slow down enough to not hit him too hard.
Oh, look at Corey LaJoy on that bottom, and unfortunately right in the lap of Chandler Smith on that outside. Not as bad as it could have been, but that's a lot of front end damage, particularly down on the front of the splitter. Look at this ride. Hold on to it. It's one too many times. There's the flaps, saving it, saving that car. Those came up, kept it right
There
on
it is. That new A-pillar flap to keep those cars on the ground and did its job.
I love that kind of stuff.
Fantastic. Save that car. Oh, that's a terrible feeling right in front of the pack, isn't it, Kev?
Well,
Let that thing come up and set right back down again.
the good news for Bubba Wallace is he's just going to spin out right here. He's not going to have all that contact like you see all those guys up next to the wall are right there. So you just got to put some new tires on that one.
Chris Busher, Chandler Smith, not so fortunate. In the second caution flag of duel number 1.
Well, it was a calm race until green flag pit stops and a lot more bump drafting, pushing, and shoving at the front of both lines since the restart. We saw a little bit of it, obviously, before the green flag stops happened, but well more late in the race, and that causes an incident. Austin Dillon turning around the 23 of Bubba Wallace, leading the inside line, middle of the back straightaway. Wallace slides down the back straightaway in the infield section of the racetrack. Didn't hit anything, no contact. Car did stay on the ground as the roof flaps did their job. Damage, unfortunately, though, for Chris Busher, knocking him out of the race after challenging for the lead just before that. Northwest Arizona, thanks for tuning in. As well as many others. Roz, thanks for tuning in. I see you in the chat. Latoya Smith. Many, many, many others. So Joey Logano leading the way, along with Ryan Blaney. They were ahead of that incident on the outside lane. Luckily, when the crash kind of funneled up to the outside, involving Busher, Byron, and Chandler Smith, at the 22, the 12 were ahead of it. Same for the 6 of Keselowski, who just made a move to the outside in front of LaJoy. Actually, LaJoy was on the bottom, I believe, behind Dillon, who was the second car in line pushing the lead car of Bubba Wallace. And Dillon, who kind of started the incident with the bad bump drafting to Bubba Wallace, is still in this thing in 6th. Byron and Busher are both out with damage. Casey Mears is going to get the free pass. I don't know if he was 1 or 2 laps down. On our leaderboard right now, it's showing him 1. I don't think they opened pit road yet. He could be back in it. It's going to be tough to go from the tail end to where Corey LaJoie's running in 4th right now, but it's not impossible. Kyle Reichert, thanks for tuning in.
With 3 Daytona 500s in a row. The 68th running is Sunday, 2:30 Eastern.
Sharitha Cooper, thanks for watching.
Only on Fox.
Well, in order to get to that 3rd win, Mike, they're going to have to do a little work on that car.
I'm afraid so.
Man, you want to talk about just a roller coaster of emotions, what Daytona can do. Riding along here with Bubba Wallace as that pack catches him. I mean, you just coming off it 2, took the lead and have that emotion. Yes, I'm right where I want to be. And then, oh no, not good at all.
Yeah, and from that view, as you see all the flaps and deploy and all the cool things that NASCAR has done to keep these cars on the ground better, there's a lot more to that story than that straight on shot right there. As we go on this Xfinity in-car camera with Bubba Wallace, you can see all the work that he's doing, and he's just out there kind of at the mercy of the guys behind you. But from the 3 cars Poet in-car camera, we're going to be able to listen to him get off the gas.
Got pushed right through it.
And you can't do anything when you're at that point. He knew he was approaching that car in front of him too fast. Got all the way out of the gas, but those guys behind him don't see that. They just want to push that line as hard as they can to go forward. And ultimately, it's just too much momentum to the back bumper of the 23 car and spun him around. But Austin Dillon did nothing wrong right there. He was just being pushed too hard from the guys behind him.
That car, Bubba Wallace and his spotter, Freddie Kraft, will have a conversation after this. All right, what do we learn from this? Got out just a little bit too far than wanted to be. What can we do to be better? Just drag a little bit of brake right there and not get that big gap and that huge rundown on us.
Behind Dillon, the accordion effect on the inside lane went all the way back to Corey LaJoie.
Yeah, it was
all
4 cars
up.
back. And sometimes that's when you get to the end of these races, you have to push as hard as you can push. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But ultimately, in this scenario, it tore up a few cars. Jamie?
Chandler Smith trying to qualify for his first Daytona 500 after that hard contact with the outside wall. He came down pit road. They put 4 tires on it. They said the splitter is dragging. You can see a little bit up front. They're pretty confident there's no tire rub, but Chandler just told them on the radio it actually feels pretty good. So let's see what he can do coming from the back here.
It can still happen, Kevin. We've seen it before. All it takes is those guys to get together again and create a hole. If somebody leans into somebody getting into the corner, somebody gets loose, checks that line up, you're right back in it.
Yeah, and that's really the only chance that this car has right here of Chandler Smith to get into the race is if Corey LaJoie has trouble.
Well, now he'll be restarting last because his car was over the wall too soon, as was Bubba Wallace's team.
Casey Mears is still in the race, but obviously he sat there spinning donuts in the infield, lost a few laps.
So we'll go to overtime.
He lost 1.
For the first time this year, 2-lap shootout.
Casey Mears lost 1 lap, so he gets the free pass. Mears is back on the lead lap now in 20th.
We have a caution before the leader takes the white flag. We'll have a restart. Logano, Blaney, Keselowski, LaJoie, still 4 Fords at the front. Then Dillon, Suarez at Chevy's, Nemechek's Toyota. There's the 2s.
I can't help to keep thinking about that 8 car and his decision to pull out of that pack. Think about the timing on that. It'd have been right in his lap.
And you just never know when it's going to happen. And sometimes an experienced driver like Kyle Busch just gets that feeling in his gut and says, this just doesn't feel right to me. I don't like the way that this is going. And it could be as simple as he didn't like the way his car was driving, but if his car was driving good, he'd still be in the front.
And that is important as we look at Jimmy Johnson and the Pi Barker onboard camera. Johnson back in 18th place. It's important for Kyle Busch because he retains his Daytona 500 pole for Sunday as long as he does not have to go to a backup car.
And this guy does as well. Jimmy Johnson, he took the 41st provisional starting spot, and we haven't said his name until right there when we went in car. He's doing the exact same thing that Kyle Busch is. Conserving his race car, already knows that he's in the field.
Well, you're looking at 9 championships between them right there. So
Not bad.
they know something a lot of other people don't.
Well, he owns them too now. He
Yeah.
knows how expensive they are to pull another one back out.
That's right.
So Corey LaJoy in the catbird seat as far as racing into the field, but Casey Mears and Chandler Smith are still in it. Here is LaJoy. Start on the inside of Brian Blaney. His teammate Chris Buescher checked at the infield care center and released after that crash at lap 56.
All right, we're setting up for a race start. This is overtime, so we are past the scheduled distance. We will have 2 laps to go when they go green. Logano, Blaney on the outside, row 1, row 2, and then RFK on the bottom, 2 cars of the 4 that were dominating. Brad Keselowski, Corey LaJoy. LaJoy trying to make the Daytona 500 as he needs to race his way in. Casey Mears 16th on the restart. Chandler Smith with damage from the incident in 20th. Green flag back in the air. Great push for Blaney to the back of Logano, and they are pulling away into turn 1. Now they're going to have to let go of the LaJoy a little longer on his push to Keselowski, is actually going to push the 6 forward because of it. So Keselowski is clear of the pack, but Logano will surge back forward now on the back straightaway. Right rear corner panel of that 6. Blaney catches up. Corey LaJoy staying tight with the 6 car. LaJoy just doesn't want to see a caution and wants to just keep things calm at the front of the field for him to make the Daytona 500. Mears is all the way back at 15th. Really just kind of hoping LaJoy gets caught up in an incident coming to the line or something for him to bypass him. Logano leads coming to the white. Can he lead to the checker the next time by? Final lap of dual race number 1 at Daytona. Joey Logano clear of the pack. Ryan Blaney in second behind him. Will not push him into turn 1. Blaney was getting a push from behind from the 3rd car on the outside, Austin Dillon. Gave a chance for the 6 and the 99 to regroup, recover, and on the back straightaway, Keselowski is back underneath of the 22. Blaney get a push. Joey Logano forward again. More disorganization on the outside lane. Stacking everybody up. Oh, LaJoy's around! Corey LaJoy's around. The 66 missed him. And I think Casey Mears is going to get into the Daytona 500. Checkered flag will be waving as the race is ending under caution. Joey Logano wins the duel. And Mears, I mean, he didn't completely miss Corey LaJoy, but he kept the car straight enough off the wall, is going to make the Daytona 500. Have you ever? I definitely have not ever seen anything like that before. Oh, what happened to Corey LaJoy? And what a disaster of a race for RFK. After they dominated the first 3 quarters of this thing, 2 of their cars end up on wreckers, one of which is going to miss the Daytona 500 entirely, and Casey Mears comes home 7th in the duel, missing the crash on the final lap, and Corey LaJoy ends up outside of at least the top 17 here. Chandler Smith, I don't know if he made it through the wreck or not, but he was not up where Casey Mears was. And it looks like Chandler Smith is scored in 16th. MBM, Casey Mears have raced their way into the Daytona 500. More like survived and advanced their way into the 500 after bringing out the first caution, which kind of started a slew of yellows in the late going. Now, the time of yellow, they're showing the time of yellow right now on the leaderboard. I don't know that that really does anything because Corey LaJoy was spinning backwards, so he didn't obviously keep his pace up. Casey Mears was ahead. Made it through the crash. Mears is in. I mean, that's tragic for Corey LaJoy. There is damage on Casey Mears' car, but not enough to take him out. That team's going to have to go to work. Quite a bit of nose damage. He smacked the wall pretty hard himself in turns 3 and 4 against the outside, but kept the car straight enough, and again, he is going to survive. 7th place finish, nonetheless, to make the Daytona 500. So he was tailing behind the pack of about 14 cars. Corey LaJoie was on the inside of row 2. They were going backwards for a short bit. And Daniel Suarez, who was getting pushed from behind by, I believe, Shane Van Gisbergen, gets knocked into the back of the 99. LaJoie goes straight right up the racetrack, collects a few other race cars with him. Casey Mears splits up the middle, Days of Thunder action, misses the incident to make the Daytona 500. I'm sure we will hear from Casey Mears, and we will hear from Corey LaJoie, and of course our race winner Joey Logano and others.
Yeah, I think you did well about that. He went for it, full send, wide open.
When we get those interviews, you'll get to listen in. We'll go through the rest of the finishing order here for the time being. Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney with a 1-2 finish for Penske. Logano with a win in this dual race. Number 1. Ryan Blaney in 2nd. Austin Dillon 3rd. John Hunter Nemechek 4th. Brad Keselowski rounds out the top 5. Shane Van Gisbergen in 6th. Casey Mears 7th. Daniel Suarez 8th. Ryan Preece 9th. And Alex Bowman unofficially round out the top 10. Joey Logano has pulled into victory lane, where we will get the winning interview. Unbelievable finish. Unbelievable. I think we're getting back to victory lane interviews. I was wondering about that with the Clash, where the interview took place on track there. Joey Logano has gotten into victory lane in Daytona, where he is celebrating his dual race number 1 victory.
Racers in NASCAR.
Well, we talked about Joey Logano's year last year, and we hear, that they've changed a few things on their team and know that they need to get back to victory lane, and here they are. Regan?
Oh, for the 4th time in his career, after the dual races, Joey Logano, you find yourself as a winner. Race got really exciting at the end there. How were you able to make the right moves to hold them off?
Just a lot of teamwork all the way through. I think about the 22 team in particular. Nick Hensley, our gas man, did a fantastic job getting us positioned off of pit road. Coleman Presley up on the roof giving me great information, and my teammate Ryan Blaney being committed and working together. So the plans, everything's nice when everything works out the way it's supposed to, and just got a great team around me. I got a great Ford Mustang, and it's great to see this yellow and red Ford Mustang back in victory lane. It's a lot of partners have been sticking with us for a long period of time, and have one back at the shop. It's a great place to start the season here.
Looking for your second 500 win on Sunday in the Daytona 500, excuse me. Did you learn what you need to learn on this 22 car as it especially got down to the end of the race, but even earlier on?
Yeah, there's definitely some things I want to work on. There's no doubt, but it's always like that. But I do think we have a strong race car. It's obviously a fast race car. We proved that tonight. So that's a good piece. You're going to have speed. We'll work on some handling pieces, but I feel like we're pretty close.
Joe Logano wins dual race number 1 in Daytona.
Thanks, Regan. Now, the delay in figuring out which of the racing cars made it had to do with whether or not all 3 of them were deemed involved in that crash. Jamie.
And Casey Mears and this little team that could, they get it done. It's official. I don't even know where to start with that, but take us through those last moments and how you ended up here.
Well, probably a little bit of power of prayer. There's a lot of that going on in the car. And, just couldn't thank everybody enough for getting us here to begin with. But yeah, I got, I had an issue on pit road, and I got a runner on the outside, and I figured I'd just stay in the gas no matter what happened. And when I saw him spinning, and I missed the first guy, I thought, okay, good. And then I hit the night that I hit square. Anyway, I hit somebody square, and I knew when I hit him flat, it didn't tear up the car too much, and I was going to be able to get back. But I didn't know who was in front of me still, whether or not we made it. And then all the guys started going nuts on the radio. So I want to say hi to Trish and the kids back home. I can't believe we're here based on our night and the way that it went. I want to thank Car Security Systems, SI Yachts, the Gracie Foundation, most of all, Bob Germain. I mean, this guy's stepped up and put me here.
Unbelievable. This team, 10 people on this car. Carl Long, how do you guys get here? And how do you move forward to Sunday? You got a shot at this now.
It's a really good question. I don't know exactly what the rules are, how they sit. I don't know what's repairable on this and what isn't. I think we do have another car that we plan to take to Atlanta in case we didn't make the show. We'd have something ready to go for Atlanta. You know, maybe we can get that ready. I don't even know what the rules are. I just know that we made it. The car's damaged. We got to figure it out. And I'm just really happy to be here.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Right.
Oldest driver in the field at age 47, and I think everybody who's been in racing for a long time has got to be happy for Casey Mears. What a way to make the race.
Wow. That was a big hit for Corey LaJoie. Driver's side first against the outside wall after getting basically hooked in the right rear, unintentionally, of course. Bad push coming from SVG and Daniel Suarez. They were already kind of gridlocked nose to nose before getting into the back of the 99, which sent him around, which is very similar to how the incident before that happened on the inside lane, taking out Bubba Wallace. And that was off the front bumper of Austin Dillon. So Joey Logano ends up with the race win in dual race number 1. Again, points were awarded to the top 10, 1 point per position, with 10th place getting 1 point, first place getting 10, very similar to the end of stage 1 and stage 2 in every race we'll see throughout the season. So Logano first. We'll go through the rest of the leaderboard here. Ryan Blaney second, margin of victory obviously under caution. Austin Dillon in third, Brad Keselowski fourth, Jonathan Nemechek in fifth, Shane Van Gisberg in sixth, Daniel Suarez 7th. Casey Mears has now scored an 8th, but he still makes it into the Daytona 500. 9th was Ryan Preece, Alex Bowman 10th, Cole Custer 11th. Leaderboard still kind of shaking as NASCAR goes through the finishing order here. Noah Gregson's now scored in 12th. Bubba Wallace 13th, Corey Heim 14th, Jimmy Johnson 15th, Chandler Smith 16th, 17th for Cody Ware, Kyle Busch 18th, Corey LaJoie ends up 19th on the record. AJ Allmendinger in 20th, Ross Chastain 21st, William Byron 22nd, Chris Buescher 23rd. Only Byron and Buescher did not see the final lap of the race, and several others obviously crashing out on the final lap did not make it back around to the checker. All right, well, congrats to Joey Logano for getting the dual race victory. So I will take the pictures of the finishing order here. So I have that for later, and we'll go through the full field starting lineup for the Daytona 500 at the end of the night once we get the outside row situated in race number 2. That was a very dramatic finish to the duel by way of how to make the Daytona 500. Absolute pandemonium. Looking at the comment section, I want to see what you guys are saying at the finish there. Any other interviews we get, again, you'll get to listen in as we are in a little bit of a down period between races 1 and 2 tonight at Daytona. Joey Logano's car parked in victory lane. NASCAR still sorting out the finishing order. We did go through that unofficially. We'll do some NASCAR trivia in the meantime between the 2 races tonight while we await the drop of the green flag for this second one. 9 lead changes, 8 laps spent under yellow. We went 3 laps past the scheduled distance as this race finished in overtime, 63 laps out of originally scheduled 60. 1 hour, 1 minute, and 23 seconds total time on the race. All 3 cautions came in the final 15 laps. Calm start, fireworks at the finish. And Joey Logano going to get the points lead to start the season. So we'll go over the dual race number 2 starting lineup post trivia. I'll have that scrolling at the top of the screen for right now. So you can get a glimpse of it. While we do go to NASCAR Sporkle. NASCAR Duels at Daytona Sporkle. Pretty obvious that we're going to end up doing a quiz, which is anybody who has ever won a dual race at Daytona. I don't know that I'm going to get a lot of them in the 60s, but we're going to do our best as a group collectively for tonight's trivia. And again, this is between the 2 races. Brad Keselowski, first and foremost, caught up with Jamie Little after finishing 5th.
Thanks for doing your darndest to get your 4th driver in there, Corey LaJoy. Take us through kind of what happened there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, we did everything we said we were going to do. We got our 4 cars to the front, ran really hard, and executed a pretty good pit cycle. And then just on the restart, kind of all hell broke loose, and things kind of got separated, and looked like Ryan Priest got shuffled, and then we couldn't keep the bottom lane super tight the way I wanted to, and there was a wreck down the backstretch, and that got the 17 car. Then at the end, I'm not really sure what happened. Like somebody got in the back of Corey, which was really disappointing. We were in a spot to get him in the race, and to go from having 4 cars in control of the race to 3 of them torn up and only one of them in the top 5 is quintessential Daytona.
Quintessential Daytona. But what is not quintessential Daytona is you being here with a broken leg, 8 weeks removed. How did it feel overall your first time back?
Yeah, the car, being in the car feels great. Walking to and from the car, not so much. But the seats in these cars, kind of mold their body, which helps. And the seat is my home. And it feels good.
All right, thank you, Jamie. Joey Logano celebrating.
All righty. So Joey Logano wins dual race number 1 at Daytona. On to some NASCAR Sporkle trivia, where we do every live commentary stream for NASCAR Cup Series races all season. Usually we go live well in advance before the start of the race, but tonight with the dual race is a little bit different. We went live about 20 minutes before the start. Not enough time, obviously, to get the trivia in because we were going to have a break period between races 1 and 2. That is why we're going to do the trivia right now. So we'll get into the second race when it becomes time. For right now, we're going to name as a unit every driver who has won a dual race at Daytona. I don't know when this quiz was last updated. I would assume 2025. I'm looking on here just to see. I see a 23. See both the 2023 winners. It looks like maybe 2023 was when this was last updated. So I don't think we have last year or the year before. I'm going to do my best in memory on this. Now, we're 2 for 2. We did 2 quizzes last week for the Clash while we had that weather delay. And in the midst of it, we went 2 for 2 in at least getting the average score. It was not my best work, but we did get above the average score. So we'll see if we can do that again here. Maybe even go perfect. Probably not, but we'll see. Richard Petty has to have won only 1. That's surprising. Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Dale Jr. obviously have both won a bunch. Mike Skinner, I know, has won a duel at Daytona 2001. Sterling Marlin was quick here for a while. And we got Cuckoo Marlin as well. Just thinking of Allison Pearson, I'm sure, is on here. Any Parsons? Just thinking of Daytona 500 winners. I wonder if Pete Hamilton. Okay, so the year he won the 500, he won his duel. Ryan Newman has not. Jimmy Johnson, I know, is on here, and I'm going to get Junior Johnson with that as well. Jeff Gordon, I know, is on here. Tony Stewart has won a duel. He is not a former winner of the race. Kurt Busch has won this race. Kyle Busch has won a duel as well. I know Austin Dillon is on here. Ryan Blaney is on here. William Byron, Almirola. Rusty Wallace not on the list. I know he's never won a 500. Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, yep. Chris Buescher. Jimmy Spencer. Win one of these? No. What about Schrader? Kenny Schrader has. Bill Elliott. Chase Elliott, I know, is on here as well. Alex Bowman has not won one. Christopher Bell did, but same for Reddick. But the last couple of years, again, are not on here. So we tried Bubba Wallace. I know he won last season. Kyle Larson has not won a duel. It's pretty obvious, but figured I'd throw it out there anyway. Mark Martin. Mark Martin never won a duel. Dale Jarrett definitely has. 97. The Labonte brothers, Terry, Bobby, have both won one. McMurray win a duel? He did not. But AJ Foyt. Okay. 78. Wow, that was really late. Mario Andretti, he's won the 500. He did not win a duel, though. Let's try Marvin Panch. No. Fireball Roberts. Yes. You guys can play along in the chat as well. Naming anybody who has ever won a duel at Daytona. Casey Kane. Stenhouse ever win a duel? No. Michael Waltrip. Darrell Waltrip obviously on here as well. Ernie Irvin. Neil Bonnet. Jeff Bodine. Baker. Buddy Baker. Got 42 of 60 already. Yeah, Johnny Rutherford. Johnny Benson, did he win? No, who won in 2000? Dale Jarrett won the race, the 500. Who won the 2000? Kyle Petty was not on the list. Matt Kenseth. Yes. My man Biffle ever? No, I didn't think so. Carl Edwards on here? No. It's 08, 2014, 2017. Who is that? Who have I not named yet? Ricky Rudd. Yes. He won in 2000. Thank you for that. 2008. Earnhardt won the shootout that year. Who the hell won the duel? I'll pause it for a quick second. They finally caught up with Corey LaJoy. Regan Smith outside the infield care center with him.
They're in the disappointment.
They look good for 149.5 miles. I thought we controlled the race as good as you can control it. The bottom lane got soft there, and the push came right at the same time. I kind of picked the 6 up, and it just hooked me to the right. That sucks, man. Because these guys worked incredibly hard on this car. I'm honestly happy for Casey Mears and Carl Long. It's cool those guys got in, but I'm devastated, man. It's this is what you work for, and I don't have another one after this. So who knows what's going to come of it? I thought the Lord brought me this opportunity, but sometimes the Lord works in mysterious ways, and we're not going to quit. We're going to keep pressing,
and see what lies ahead. Because I don't know. Truck race tomorrow. I do know that, so we'll have some fun there. But man, it really sucks. Thanks, Corey.
It's hard to get excited about running a truck race when you failed to make the Daytona 500. You got to feel for Corey LaJoie. Definitely dominated throughout. Denny Hamlin, thank you in the chat, by the way, winning those races. I don't know why. I was stumped on that. So all the rest here. No, we do have another 2011. Those the tandem duel races. Who won? The tandem duel races at Daytona. I know. I don't remember those very well. Not gonna lie. Clint Boyer? Burton? Yes, there we go. Jeff Burton. I know that RCR was really good in the tandem era. They had that Burton Boyer Talladega finish. Kevin Harvick won against Jamie McMurray. All right, so we're on to the 60s. We got the 60s and 70s. Mid to late 80s. That's interesting. Cale Yarborough. I didn't name him yet. Let's try Leroy Yarborough. He's on here. Joe Weatherly. All right. I know Rexford's not on here. This is gonna get gnarly. Anybody who's ever won a dual race at Daytona. Dave Marcus. Yes. Dave Marcus is on the list. 1976. What about Bobby Isaac? Yes, Bobby Isaac is on the list. This is so tough. (2004) and 2006. I didn't see Elliott Sadler. Okay. Now we've got all of them modern day. So it's straight 60s and 70s NASCAR. 1959. Who won the first dual race at Daytona? Harry Gant? No. We got to think older. Curtis Turner? Nope. This is where it gets tough. Rex White. I did not put him yet. It's a little too old because they didn't start racing at Daytona until 59. He was more late 40s, early to mid 50s. This is where we get stumped in the last 3.5 minutes. 53 out of 60. We have 7 drivers we're missing. I'm just going to start putting like basic last names in here. Oh, man. Fred Lorenzen. Oh, yes. He is on here. 1967. And Dale Sr. did not race. Well, I mean, I guess he technically raced in the late 70s. His rookie year was, what, 70? No, it wasn't 79. It was 80, I think. 80 or 81. You guys are Bob Wellborn. Yes, Bob Wellborn is on the list. 5 names left. Shorty Rollins. There we go. Now the chat's coming in clutch. That one is not on here, though, but it was a good try. Oh, you know what? The Flock family. Oh, they're not on here. There's no Flock family members that have won a dual race at Daytona. Farmer, no. Wood? Nope. I don't know, folks. Mike Wallace isn't that old. He was too old to compete at Daytona a couple years ago, but he's not that old. I'm gonna throw Morgan Shepherd in there for kicks and giggles. There's no way. I was gonna say. I mean, I don't know. Throw a Jackson in there. Nope. Daryl Deringer. The chat, see that? D-I-E-R Ringer. There we go. Daryl Deringer, 1965. What a pull from Richard Jones. I did put Benny Parsons on here already. He was in 87. No, that. What am I doing? I did put Joe Weatherly already, right? Pretty sure I did. Let me. Okay, I did. Might as well try it again. Oh, you know what? No. I'm just trying to think of like other open wheelers that maybe tried the 500 back in the 60s. There's one on the tip of my tongue I can't think of right now. I've got Andretti Foyt. I tried Parnelli Jones. Oh gosh, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I really hope I don't see it because Earl Ballmer, 1966. Jack Smith in 1960. Paul Goldsmith in 66 as well. Charlie Glotzback, 1970. Man, he was... I didn't realize he raced that long ago. It's crazy because I remember him doing that Legends race at Bristol where he almost died, and that was in the 2000s. And he raced in 1970. That was it. Those were the only four. 93%, average score was 73%, 56 out of 60. That's a very good score, gang. Very good score. We crushed it. We crushed it this week. All right, well, there's our lone Sporkle NASCAR quiz. Daytona dual race winners. We got all but four. 56 out of 60. That was going to be really tough. I've heard of those drivers at least, so there isn't anybody I hadn't heard of, but to think of those names off the top of my head, that would be very challenging. I'll pat myself on the back and metaphorically pat your guys' selves, guys and gals that helped along, because we did that as a team. And we did a pretty damn good job, if I had to say. All right, so we're getting set up for duel number 2 at Daytona. Starting lineup is scrolling across the top of the screen. Drivers are strapping into the rocket ships, and we're going to be going green here shortly. Raw feed is changing from one race to the next. So we're going to go down to NASCAR.com on a different web page here and go through the starting lineup for today's race. Again, it is scrolling at the top of the screen currently. Chase Briscoe going to be on the pole for dual race number 2 after qualifying on the outside of row 1 yesterday. His second straight front row start in the Daytona 500. Denny Hamlin will be starting in second, trying to go for his 4th career dual race win. Kyle Larson with Chase Elliott in row number 2. Larson never a dual race winner. Chase Elliott has won this race before. Ty Gibbs with Christopher Bell will line up in row number 3. So an all JGR front row, an all HMS row 2, and an all JGR row 3. All 4 JGR Toyotas obviously in this race starting at the front. Justin Allgaier, one of our open entries who qualified his way in on speed yesterday, will be starting inside of row 4 alongside Austin Cindric, the 2022 Daytona 500 winner and dual race winner of last season. Zane Smith, along with Michael McDowell, will line up in row number 5. McDowell, the 2021 500 winner. Rookie Connor Zilich inside of row 6 alongside Eric Jones, another former dual winner. Josh Berry with Carson Hocevar in row 7. Row 8, Riley Herbst, Todd Gillen. Anthony Alfredo, one of the open entries, will be on the inside of row number 9 alongside Ty Dillon. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the 2023 Daytona 500 winner, and former dual race winner Tyler Reddick in row number 10. Row 11, rounding out the field, BJ McLeod and JJ Yaley. Anthony Alfredo, the strong favorite by way of speed in this duel to make it to the Daytona 500, as he will be competing against McLeod and Yaley starting in that final row in row 11. 22-car field for race 2. But that doesn't mean anything because we saw the slowest on speed of the 3 yesterday in qualifying. Casey Mears and MBM make the Daytona 500 after a last lap crash involving Corey LaJoie, taking him out of it. A crash just before that, taking out Chandler Smith, who was also running in the top 10 late in the race. And the guy who was running 13th to the back of the pack and actually spun out, trying to make it to pit road for a green flag pit stop in the race, brought out the very first caution, is the one who ends up coming from a lap down to make the event. Credit where credit is due. They did what they needed to do, and congratulations to Casey Mears. Joey Logano won the dual race number 1 at Daytona as well. For those of you that might have missed it, I'll go through the starting, or I will go through the finishing order of dual race number 1 yet again. Raw feed is not working yet on NASCAR.com. So still waiting to change over from race 1 to race 2. Unofficial results of dual race number 1 at Daytona as follows on screen. Joey Logano gets the dual race win. Ryan Blaney 2nd. Austin Dillon 3rd. Brad Keselowski 4th. Jonathan Nemechek rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Shane Van Gisbergen finished in 6th. Daniel Suarez 7th. Casey Mears 8th, advancing in on his finishing position to the Daytona 500. Ryan Preece finishes 9th. Alex Bowman rounds out the top 10. Cole Custer in 11th. 12th for Noah Gragson. Bubba Wallace in 13th. Corey Heim 14th. 15th for Jimmy Johnson. Chandler Smith in 16th. He'll be going home for the 3rd consecutive year, failing to make the Daytona 500. Cody Ware in 17th. 18th for Kyle Busch, the pole sitter for the 500. Hopefully he doesn't have too much damage from that incident. I'm not sure if he really got caught up in it or not. Corey LaJoie ends up finishing 19th, and he'll be going home early, but we will see him in the truck race tomorrow. AJ Allmendinger in 20th, 21st for Ross Chastain. William Byron 22nd. Chris Buescher 23rd. Byron and Buescher were knocked out of the wreck, which caused us to have overtime before obviously what ended up happening as a last lap incident. All right. So that was the recap from race number 1 and the finishing order at that. Joey Logano, 10 points, all the way down to 1 point for 10th in races 1 and 2 tonight. So Joey Logano, the unofficial points leader, as of right now, who will tie him at 10 points apiece as winning this second duel. And obviously that sets up the inside row for the Daytona 500 tomorrow. So Joey Logano winning the duel race will be starting 3rd behind pole sitter Kyle Busch. Ryan Blaney will be starting 5th, who finished 2nd in his duel. Now we set up the outside row for the Daytona 500 with the second 60-lap duel. All right, talking to Chase Briscoe, the pole sitter.
Trying to get to a point. I mean, it's race. I think it's early in the year, but the same amount as the last game. So we're trying to keep this thing up here. Obviously, it's too crazy. We're probably doing the same thing that Kyle did, but the plan is here to race and see if we keep this thing up front.
You're in year 2 now. Did we learn anything in that first race that might teach us a lesson to make sure that we don't overthink what we're doing as far as aborting from our plan?
I don't know. I mean, and like I said, every rig there was kind of based off the Chevy does. So, don't really know what to expect, in this one from that standpoint. But no, I think for us, the plan from the get-go is, try to race stay up front. But if you get back into chaos, it's probably bail. So, yeah, no, it's still business as usual for us, and see if we can keep it up here.
All right, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, let's have a look at tonight's America 250 Florida Duel 2 starting grid. Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota's on the front row for Chase Briscoe.
All right, we went over the starting lineup ourselves already, so I'll let Mike Joy do it on air to others watching at home that are not you guys watching this stream on KRC. Appreciate everybody tuning in for tonight's full races coverage of the Duels at Daytona. A wild finish to dual race number 1. Came down to the final lap to see who was going to get into the 500. Usually does. I don't think I've ever seen a dual race where it doesn't come down to the final lap or come into the checker and a photo finish to see who makes the duel in the middle of the pack. And this one, a little bit different than most, where we see a car split up the middle, missing the incident on the final lap, missing the spinning car that he had to pass nonetheless, Corey LaJoy, to get in. So I keep logging out of NASCAR.com and logging back in to see if the raw feed is up and running. It hasn't been so far. Oh, still nothing. Whenever the raw feed becomes available, I'll let you take a look at it. For now, I'll just have the dual race number 1 finishing results on screen. Yeah, a lot of work going to be had for that 66 team. I would not be shocked if they don't participate in practice tomorrow and then try to get their backup car, or if they try to repair this primary car, get it there on Saturday. Because there are 2 more practice sessions before the 500, so that's good for anybody involved in incidents that they can't get on track tomorrow. They still have a shot on Saturday. And I don't think we're going to see all the cars hit the track on Saturday afternoon. All right. Checking pit road speeds. We'll be going green within a couple laps. Back watching the Spanish feed. Appreciate you tuning in, Steve. Got just over 100 people concurrently in the chat. Greatly appreciate you all tuning back in after the break that we had between races. We're up to 91 likes on the stream. Our initial goal was to get to 100 tonight, so we're only 10 away from that. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We have live commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend, and obviously we will be live right here. Speed Weeks continues on. Tomorrow we'll be live for the truck race at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. ARCA on Saturday afternoon at noon Eastern, followed by the O'Reilly race at 1:30 p.m. Eastern for the Daytona 500 on Sunday. Come on. I want Bob's Discount Furniture to get off my screen so I can... Yeah, I don't have a leaderboard right now. I'll pull the starting lineup back up for now. And kind of sucks that there's no live leaderboard for the time being. But I'll constantly be refreshing NASCAR.com in the meantime. AJ Summers, thanks for tuning in. Do the commentary. We'll keep showing up. Appreciate that, AJ. All right, lights are out on the pace car, and the pace car is now taking the big left-hand turn to pit road. And we're going to get this second 60-lap race underway. Green flag is in the air. Chase Briscoe and Denny Hamlin for Joe Gibbs Racing will lead the field to the green. Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, row number 2. Hamlin dropping back to let his teammate Chase Briscoe down to the bottom lane whenever he chooses to do so. Hasn't done so yet. He's well out ahead of the pack heading into turn 1 and now moves down to the bottom. So Chase Elliott up high, kind of split apart from his teammate Kyle Larson for now. We'll see if Christopher Bell's going to try to give him a shot. And I would assume that the 4 Joe Gibbs Toyotas are going to try to do what the RFK Fords did for the first 3 quarters of the first race. Get all 4 to the front, control the pack. We'll just have to see if they have the speed to be able to do it, though. Because those RFK Fords were very, very quick. But now they're down in a number, so it's going to be a little interesting for Sunday. My pick for this dual race, I didn't get it out before the drop of the green flag, but I was going to take Christopher Bell. Bell has finished in the top 5 in 4 of the last 5 dual races at Daytona, including a win in there. So give me Christopher Bell. He's been very, very good in this race. First lap was led by Briscoe, with Hamlin in second behind him, clear of the pack, side by side for third between Larson and Elliott. Now would be the best time to get one of them out in front if possible. It's going to be kind of tough. Justin Allgaier going to drop out of the lead pack and head to the back. For Junior Motorsports, Allgaier's already locked into the Daytona 500 based off qualifying speed last night. So not wanting to damage the car. A little bit of a strategy there from the early get-go. As for the 3 drivers trying to race their way into the 500, again, it is J.J. Yaley in the 44 for New York Racing, the 78 Liftfast Chevrolet of B.J. McLeod, and the 62 Chevrolet of Anthony Alfredo. All Chevys trying to race their way in, by the way, in this duel. Calm start, just like we had in dual race number 1. Kind of gridlocked front to back. Like the big American flag with the eagle on the front of the car for Michael McDowell this weekend. That's a paint scheme right there. You want to hear Great American Race? That's a Great American paint scheme that Michael McDowell is supporting this weekend. Hamlin and Briscoe have been well clear of the pack. I think there's some fuel saving going on right now. Average speed that last lap, only 178 miles an hour for a race leader. Maybe not the average speed. That's what they're going right now, about 180. I mean, they're about 10 miles per hour off the pace. So not only is it a calm start, but it is a very much fuel-saving start. We didn't see this much of it in Stage 1. The RFK Fords, they were just off and running early. They wanted to get out and control things from the start. Different tactic for everybody in this duel. Still want to try to keep some track position. This is where we tend to see some 3-wide racing, and right now a couple cars back out of the pack trying to go to the outside of 3-wide. Eric Jones, BJ McLeod, Anthony Alfredo. No sponsorship on that 78 of McLeod, same thing we saw last year. And he was actually driving his way to the front last season. This is the same strategy he had when there was some fuel saving going on in his duel. He actually went to the front, was leading laps for the first half of the race before getting caught up in an incident late, which unfortunately derailed his chances of trying to make it after failing to make the 500 last year, trying to get back in it this season. Yes, there are points in the duels, top 10. First place gets 10 points, 10th place gets 1. Just like the stages. Stages 1 and 2. All right, I'll try to get NASCAR.com and the raw feed back up and running now that the race is underway. Apologize for the hiccup with the live leaderboard right now, but not really a lot I can do about that on NASCAR.com other than just kind of hope that everything refreshes at some point. I've got nothing on my end. Eric Jones and BJ McLeod are just 2 cars, but they're going to actually move ahead to the front of this pack, even with just the 2 of them, as they continue to make up some ground. And the only way they're able to do that is because of the partial throttle and the amount of partial throttle that everybody else is running behind them. They're not partial. They're trying to get to the front as quickly as they can and then save. It's very reminiscent of if you ever watch cycling, where you don't want to be the leader in the draft because they're just using the most energy the entire time, and then they'll just kind of trade the lead back and forth a lot. This is kind of what you're maybe going to see in this duel, where Jones and McLeod maybe not trying to save right now, get the track position, get to the front. They'll lead the draft, and everybody else will try to run the pace that they run further back. Unless they want to try to get out in front and lead as well. Todd Gilliland is going to jump up well behind the two cars on the outside of Jones and McLeod and try to get moving forward on his own. Top 10 in the running order at the end of lap 7 has Chase Briscoe in the lead, Denny Hamlin second, Chase Elliott third, Kyle Larson fourth, Christopher Bell in fifth, and Ty Gibbs is sixth. Seventh is Michael McDowell, Austin Cindric eighth, Ty Dillon ninth, and Eric Jones rounds out the top 10. McLeod 13th, Anthony Alfredo 15th, J.J. Haley 20th of the three drivers trying to race their way in through this second duel for the Daytona 500 spot. Just like the first race, two will be going home. Chandler Smith and Corey LaJoie failed to make the Daytona 500 in race 1. On the final lap, Casey Mears raced his way in, missing the final lap crash. Oddly enough, all three were involved in some sort of an incident. All separate incidents, too. Casey Mears also caught up in the last one. He just didn't get spun around backwards like LaJoie did. All right, now we've got three cars on the outside. Gilliland is caught up to McLeod and Jones. He was tailing behind for a little bit. Caught up very quickly. And they're all inside the top dozen positions or so, with the two JGR Toyotas single file leading the pack of three, again, Hamlin and Briscoe. Briscoe's led every lap in the pole of this race so far as the fuel-saving measures continue. Full screen commercial break as of right now on Fox Sports 1. Let me try to get the raw feed hopefully back up and running again. Nothing. I've got nothing on NASCAR.com. They are very slow tonight, trying to give us some sort of a live leaderboard. I like how the live odds I can get, but I can't get the live leaderboard. Great to know NASCAR.com has its priorities and set. Oh, there we go. I got it now. I have found the leaderboard. There you have it. Briscoe's led all 10 laps so far. From first, and Hamlin, who started second, has been in second for all of them as well. Nine minutes in to Daytona 500 dual race number 2. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live, KRC, our full flag-to-flag coverage of both duels here tonight. Alrighty. Lots and lots of racing still to go. Very early going. I'll let you listen into the TV coverage for the first time in full when they do come back from commercial. I've not eaten since I got home from work today. I got home a little late. So I'll unmute the TV. I'll grab my snack real quick and be back when they come to the next break. Well, I'll probably be sitting in my seat. You'll see me. No, I'll just step away for a quick second.
On track, capped off with a season for NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on FS1 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
Welcome back to the America 250 Florida Duel at Daytona. Chase Briscoe has led all 11 laps. Denny Hamlin stuck right to his bumper, then the Hendrick Chevys of Larson and Elliott. And then 3 Toyotas, Jones, Gibbs, and Bell.
Yeah, I just keep thinking back to the Ryan Priest scenario for Chase Briscoe, but you know, he's got a lot on the line with his front row start qualifying position right now. We know that we already heard him say that he wants to take care of his race car. He wants to learn about his race car, and he wants to win. So how the heck do you balance all that?
Well, keep it right there. That's what I'm going to stay right there with my teammate and a seasoned veteran on my bumper as long as I possibly can. Much like we saw with Kyle Busch. As soon as I lose that, get marred in traffic, I'm getting out of Dodge.
The Xfinity fastest lap will likely get faster as the fuel load burns off. Under green.
This has always been kind of fun. You can get you an old JR last year, can't you, Kevin? Let that pack up there too wide. Get back on, get a run. Watch this thing. You can hear it too. Listen to the RPM.
Yeah, and that lap's going to be about 8 miles an hour faster as
He had to let it
get towards the when they really are getting after it. So it's definitely there's a lot of games being played out there as we ride on board the Arby's camp with Justin Allgaier. So you saw him get out of the pack. He didn't want to take any chances of just anything that might happen because they know William Byron's car got tore up and the backup cars. There's just not a lot of extra cars sitting around the garage, and not to include the amount of time that it takes to work on them and get it right.
Not to mention that it's a part-time team.
Yeah.
You know, part-time car, one shot race for Allgaier here for Junior Motorsports, as they did last year in the 500. So, yeah, they don't want to put that at risk, especially in these early laps. What's at stake here, right? For them, not much.
And I think that they probably want to make a pit stop. They want Justin to get to pit road. They want the fueler to fuel the car, and they know the strengths that they had with their pit crew and their scenario, and maybe some guys that don't do it all the time. So they need to run all the laps and go through all the procedures.
And we might see them change tires too, because hey, you can.
And we saw that with Corey Hyman in the first race. You know, rookie driver, pit crew, all the things that you have with a part-time team to be able to do that for the first time of the year is very important.
Pass it clear, ball short.
Austin Cindric, I mean, obviously, he has a knack for the super speedway stuff. He's got great teachers, great organization to help him learn. His first race was winning this Daytona 500. So he obviously knows how to get to victory lane. He knows how to keep himself up in the front. We saw those Fords look pretty strong in that first race. I think that Austin Cindric will be somebody that is in contention as we go through the day and night of the Daytona 500.
Spot on, no question. A lot different scenario out here when you're all by yourself. Much like Nemechek in that first one. Trying to find you a dancing partner, nobody wants to dance with you.
See Ty Gibbs right there in that 54 car right behind our defending champion Kyle Larson on that back bump. You know, even when you're trying to take care of everything, you still get some of those runs, and you still want to be able to. I always wanted to be able to test just what it felt like, so I had a good depth perception of where that car is in front of me. Start to feel the back bumper of the car in front of you, so you know when it's time to really start pushing and shoving. You had a good reference of what that felt like, and be comfortable with when those hood flaps are going to blow up. That was one of my reference points, was when those hood flaps would blow up, you knew that you were close enough to keep your back bumper right.
44, J.J. Yaley, triple USAC champ and Cup veteran, trying to put this 44 into the field. for New York Racing.
Yeah, and you see right here, right on board with Tyler Reddick on our Toyota Racing camera. You know, he's got himself in the back, and that came from his qualifying effort. And we've covered the fact that we think this needs to be a big year for him. And with the expectations and things that they had, I was a bit caught off guard after Corey Himes lapping qualifying being so fast. And in the first race, we saw Bubba Wallace make his way to the lead. So can Tyler Reddick, and is that car in the same condition as Bubba Wallace is to be able to work his way to the front?
We'll see. Larry, what we're seeing is just about what I expected with all of these that we've seen. When race 1 is a big barn burner and dust up, the first 20 laps of race 2 look pretty tame.
Well, these drivers can be fast learners, and I think they saw what exactly went on in Duel 1. And Mike, you asked the question, would it pay dividends and maybe pitting a little early when you saw what happened with all those Fords pitted in that first duel? It sounds like that may be the safest bet. The downside, though, if a group stays out there and stays lined up, they're making lap times, and you're probably going to make it be tough to catch them even after they make their green flag stops. That's the downside right there.
All right, there's the pros and cons. Regan?
Well, Mike, just to add another layer to this onion right now here, also about pitting early, there is a little bit of chatter on a couple radios, one of which is the 77 at Carson Hosevar. If this pace holds up, be ready. We might think about doing something at lap 20. I got to assume as slow as the pace is at times, they think they can go out there, get their full fuel load, and just go as fast as they can for the rest of the race. The 10 car of Ty Dillon also saying the same thing.
Why not? If you do what everybody else does, you're going to run right with everybody else. $20 complete this time by. Little change. Okay, no change in the front 5. Just the way we started.
As a driver, it is super hard to pace yourself and keep yourself patient. And right now, and we look at Ty Gibbs. I mean, he's a guy that is just up on that steering wheel all the time, wanting to do everything he can to push forward. And Eric Jones, same way, as we ride on his Advent Health onboard right here. So it's a lot of discipline from the drivers. It's very strategic. As you see a car shoot up on the outside right there, Ty Dillon and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. have decided that
No surprise there with those two at all.
Go time. For the younger of the two Dillon brothers, driving for Colic Racing.
Well, it just shows you, look how much faster he is. Close to the floorboard right there.
And up the middle. Let's Chase Elliott.
Better get down quick. All right.
Uses that energy.
Well, there's 3 Chevys lined up on the outside. Let's see what they can do with this outside line.
All right, 21 laps complete. Toyota's on the inside, Chevy's on the outside. All fighting for dominance in Daytona in the second 150-mile duel.
Lap 23 of 60 in dual race number 2 at Daytona. Chase Briscoe's led every lap so far, continues to lead as he's out in front. Excuse me, after starting on the pole, Briscoe is the race leader. Denny Hamlin scored in second, Chase Elliott third, Ty Dillon fourth, and Kyle Larson is your current top 5. And 6th is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Christopher Bell 7th, Ty Gibbs in 8th, Michael McDowell 9th, and Eric Jones in 10th. 11th is Anthony Alfredo, Austin Cindric in 12th, Riley Herbst 13th, Zane Smith 14th, and Carson Hosevar is 15th. 16th for Tyler Reddick, Connor Zillage 17th, Josh Berry 18th, Ty Gillen 19th, and J.J. Yaley 20th. 21st, B.J. McLeod, 22nd, Justin Allgaier. So that is your full 22-car field for dual race number 2, caution-free. A lot of fuel saving going on. 3.5 seconds roughly slower a lap is what Chase Briscoe, the leader, is running now versus what the leaders were running at their fastest to start the race when RFK was just trying to get out ahead and take off. Two polar opposite races, despite the fact that the beginning has gone caution-free in both. With the fast pace and the push hard from the word go versus the fuel-saving measures that are going on right now. all with the ability to just try to take less fuel to make it to the end. And I'm interested to see if we see anybody come to pit road and try to push others' hands and maybe making their way in as well. We'll take a quick break here. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag to flag coverage of both 60-lap duels at Daytona continues. We're in duel race number 2, nearly halfway.
Welcome back to the America 250 Florida Duel at Daytona, race number 2. You're watching our aerial coverage, tried, tested, proven, legendary. Chase Briscoe has led every lap. So when he comes to pit road for a splash of Sunoco race fuel with zero carbon bioethanol, is he going to need more than everybody else? Because he's been out front the whole race long?
Absolutely.
Yes, but I will say they've done a good job of managing the race, kind of like a horse race, pulling them reins back a little bit. You have a teammate working with you too, and not just, pushing your bumper off of you, making sure that you keep it wide open. You can kind of slow that pack down as well. And you can see how much he slowed them down when the 10 car of Ty Dillon and Stenhouse drove around all of them on that outside.
He's definitely been more aggressive with the pace than what they were in the first race.
Well, let's remember what happened at the end of race number 1 when Casey Mears pulled a Hail Melon around the outside wall to race into the Daytona 500. Let's give you a little radio remix of that.
Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Keep pushing here. Keep pushing it on. Keep pushing it on. That'll put us in there right here. Keep coming here. Keep coming. We're always hit a lot. Yeah. Well, hey, we made it. Third. Woo! You never know at this place, man. I don't know what the hell we're gonna do. We're pretty torn up, but damn right we're in. Hell yeah. Get him back. Get him back.
Hell yeah, is NASCAR's new image campaign for 2026. There's a good example of it right there.
Yeah, we used a prime example of it right there, but you just can't win. And I'm happy for Casey Mears, old Bakersfield boy.
Yep.
Grew up a huge fan of the Mears gang and that family. So it's good to see good guys be able to have good things happen, especially after he rebounded from the mistake that he had early in the race when they were trying to get onto pit road under green. Actually, spun Noah Gregson out and himself out, got stuck in the grass and got a lap down. So great to see all that cycle through.
Absolutely. All right, 27 down, 33 to go. Let's go to pit road and check with Jamie.
Well, Chase Elliott in the 9 running third right now. Before this race, his plan was to get after it. He said he was so eager to see how this new body trial would push and be pushed. And he has not said anything on the radio. He's moving that car around, getting nice pushes. Hasn't done a lot of pushing just yet, but seems to be happy as Chase is one of 5 former champions in the field that have never won the Daytona 500.
Right here, Jamie, is the closest he has been to the leader so far in 29 laps. 1 car length away.
Yeah, you see Stenhouse back there. I feel like he and Ty Dillon obviously made the big move on the outside, but I feel like if Ty Dillon pulled out, he's willing to pull out with him to get the rest of that track position. But sometimes you just have to surprise them and pop out there and do it. You can't. You almost have to lull them to sleep in scenarios like this.
Well, hey, it's a game of chess, and it's like a horse race. I've said it 100 times over the years. You've got the reins pulled back. Attrition is such a big part of this. You know that horse is going to be ready to run when the time's right. And right now, we've got to just get to the end of this thing. We'll get our pit stop in, get that under our belt. Let's make no mistakes. And then let's get to the end of this thing and see what she's got.
31 laps to go And coming up next on FS1, we've lost Dale Earnhardt 25 years later. It's not about the race. It's not about the crash. It's about what we lost here 25 years ago.
You know, while they're doing this, like, you just can't help but to keep your eye on these go homers. I see Anthony Alfredo kind of, you know, inching back into that picture on the outside line there. That baby blue car, the 62, there he is right there. That adrenaline rush, the nerves of go or go home situation at Daytona for the 500 is huge. And there's a lot of these guys don't have that scenario going on right now. They're just kind of minding their P's and Q's and seeing what they got. A little bit of change up here on the front.
Yeah, that's Riley Herbst up on the outside lane right there.
Keep looking,
trying to make up some ground.
Even in the front right there.
Now, Herbst spent the first 10 laps trailing the pack just ahead of Allgaier.
You see Chase Elliott got to the bottom. There was a big gap in between Denny and his teammate Briscoe. Enabled Chase Elliott to get to the bottom, shake up to the front. Here comes Ty Dillon on the outside.
So now the bottom lane is Toyota, Chevy, Toyota, Chevy, Toyota.
Yeah, what happens when you see these guys up on the outside lane like that, and then all of a sudden the leaders or spotter or somebody says, oh, we got to go. We got to protect our track position. We got to pick up the pace. In order to do that, then you get those gaps, and that's allowed Chase Elliott to get in the middle of those two cars, not what they wanted to see happen.
$32 complete this time around. We're probably 10 laps or so away. But pit stops, if they need to be made, under the green flag. This is picking up here in Daytona. Stick around.
If these teams are trying to go as far as they can on fuel before they hit pit road, then they're going to be able to go further than 15 laps to go, which is where we saw the RFK Fords hit pit road while they were running 3 to 3.5 seconds faster a lap at certain points than what we've seen out of the slower pack here. Now, since Ty Dillon got to the lead in front of the JGR Toyotas that were controlling things at 3.5 seconds slower than what we saw the pace in race 1, the pace is quickened a bit, not by much. It's about 2.5 seconds slower than what we had back in dual race number 1 now, so about a second faster. Ty Dillon obviously just wanting to pick up the pace enough to get himself to the front of the field. Now, he is probably going to have to top off for more fuel, so we'll have to wait and see if he's going to actually be able to cycle back as one of the leaders, if he can get enough fuel in his race car when they're on pit road, him meaning that team. And same for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who followed Ty Dillon all the way up to the front. So right now, your top 10 has Ty Dillon in the lead, Chase Briscoe second, then Ricky Stenhouse Jr. third, Chase Elliott fourth, Denny Hamlin in fifth, Kyle Larson is sixth, seventh place is Riley Herbst, Michael McDowell eighth, Anthony Alfredo ninth, and Riley Herbst rounds out the top 10. Alfredo, the top runner in the race to get into the Daytona 500 with the 3 open entries, in that 9th place position. The other two, BJ McLeod is 20th, and JJ Yaley is 13th, only 4 spots behind Alfredo. Great run for JJ Yaley so far. Now, with the field being half-paced, I'm not entirely sure what kind of speed the 78 and the 44 have if we were at full speed in the draft, if they would actually be able to compete with the 62. I think the fuel-saving measures that are going on right now are definitely allowing them to be able to make passes in the draft and keeping them well within distance without having to get a ton of help to get that push forward to try to outman the 62 ahead. Now, the interesting thing is all 3 of those teams are single-car, single-owned teams, versus in the first dual race, you had 4 cars for RFK and the 1 extra RFK car trying to get in, as well as the 4th Front Row Motorsport Ford with Chandler Smith also trying to get into the race, or I should say the 3rd Front Row Motorsport. No, I had it right. Yeah, the 4th. I keep forgetting Gregson, and the 4 car is also over there now. So, not having those teammates obviously still ended up okay for Casey Mears in the sense that he made it into the show, but it was a lot harder having to run at the back most of it, and obviously his own circumstances coming from a lap down as well. Chase Briscoe has found himself back to the front of the field post-commercial break with about 25 laps to go now in dual race number 2 at Daytona. Double wide is Chase Elliott and Ty Dillon. Hamlin pushing Chase Elliott forward. On the bottom lane, Stenhouse locking bumpers with Ty Dillon. The pace is quickening even more. Down into the 42nd lap times for really the first time today, at least for the second race. And if you're wondering why Chase Briscoe is at the front of the field and has not died to the back like Kyle Busch did in the middle of the first dual race when things maybe started to pick up in speed, that's because Chase Briscoe feels like he's going to go for points, keep this track position. Obviously, you run the risk of maybe not starting on the front row for the Daytona 500, but there are points awarded for those top 10 spots. And remember, the regular season champion is going to have such an advantage when the chase starts, 30 points ahead of second place. As we go back to a somewhat usual form with the original chase format to a certain degree. It's going to be 10 races all the way through, but if you win the regular season championship after the first 26 races, you start off at 2,100 points. Second place starts off 25 points back, I believe. I said 30 at first. 25 points back at 2075. A 25-point cushion is massive. I mean, it's almost half a positioning worth, half a field worth of points. And it all starts right now here at Daytona in this dual event. Joey Logano, of course, winning dual race number 1. Ryan Blaney in second. Good start for Team Penske. We'll see if Joe Gibbs Racing can do the same here as Briscoe's led every lap. Nearly every lap. Ty Dillon was able to lead for a few, obviously. Let's take a look here. 36 laps led for Briscoe, 1 for Ty Dillon. So Dillon only led the 1. Most of that taking place during the commercial break. I was thinking he might have led for longer than he did, but that was not the case. Our like goal to get to 100 likes on the stream, we were very close. Let me refresh and check this. We're at 98. We're 2 likes away from our goal, so be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We only have 22 laps to go in our second race tonight. Subscribe for more NASCAR content like this every NASCAR race weekend. Truck Xfinity Cup races. As well as the ARCA race this weekend, a special for Daytona Speed Week. So I got 4 more streams yet this weekend. We're still just getting started. Second stream in. Briscoe's been lane changing from bottom to top. When blocking Ty Dillon, Dillon's going to get a run on him and move to the outside. Briscoe settles in line on the double yellow right in front of the other Chase Elliott. 16 positions gained from the start for both Ty Dillon and Stenhouse from where they were deep in the field at one point to where they are now towards the front. Stenhouse is giving Dillon a very aggressive bump draft, and now let's go into turn 3. Michael McDowell, the 71, quietly has been in the back half of the top 10 this entire time. He is on the outside lane behind Stenhouse and Dillon. And Anthony Alfredo, one of the open entries on the Dude Wipes number 62 Chevrolet, is the 4th car in line on the top. Connor Zilich, the rookie, just behind him. Stenhouse aggressive with a side draft coming out of the tri-oval to the 1st car in line on the bottom of Chase Briscoe. We haven't seen much side drafting tonight, but Stenhouse, we know him to be super aggressive at Daytona, so he's definitely going to do that. And Elliott's going to have to give Briscoe a bigger push down the back straightaway. We'll see if Briscoe can handle it. Bobbling a little bit, but they are moving forward with great speed. Simultaneously, though, the push on the outside by Stenhouse kept the 10 of Ty Dillon out in front of the field for just a little bit longer, as Dillon still paces out in front off turn 4. Michael McDowell to the back of the 47 car, and he lifted. You can see the exhaust pipes having a little bit of flames. Stenhouse, Dillon, nose to tail. Stenhouse backing off. He is now clear of the pack as well in second. They'll move to the bottom. With less than 20 to go, we could see pit stops at any lap at this point. 1 stop to the finish. Chase Briscoe, I thought he was going to duck out of line there for a second. He does not. He's just getting pushed by Elliott and dancing all over the place, but he stayed committed to trying to continue on at the front of the pack. So as far back as Briscoe has been this entire race now, outside of the top 5, rookie Connor Zilich up on the high side with Anthony Alfredo, the open entry. Alfredo to the outside of second place Ty Dillon, while Michael McDowell with 2021 Daytona 500 winner leads the field. 18 to go. we've got a hodgepodge of drivers that aren't typically at the front of the field on your every given Sunday. Now leading the way, McDowell first, Ty Dillon second, Anthony Alfredo third, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Connor Zilic is the top 5. Combined Cup Series wins between them all. My math serves me correct, I believe 6. 2 for McDowell, 4 for Stenhouse. It's crazy. And now Riley Herbst in 6th place right behind him. And points are on the line, so maybe some of these drivers who could be fringe chase contenders like a McDowell or a Zilic could be huge points for them. Everyone matters. Zilic to the back of the 62 of Alfredo, and some of the more inexperienced drivers at the front doing a good job so far. I only had 4 Toyotas back in that first race. And in this second race, we have 7 of them. Most of them are in the back half of the top 10. Herbst, Reddick, Briscoe, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Denny Hamlin's fell just outside of the top 10. He's just kind of jammed into the bottom lane, and as more cars kind of shuffle their way to the front and move down, he goes backwards, which is what we saw in the top lane of the racetrack before the 4 RFK Fords were the front 4 and pulling away from the field in the first dozen laps or so of dual race number 1. So we started seeing green flag pit stops with 15 laps to go in the first race. Caution came out in the middle of green flag stops. We will see when the leaders will pit this time. And we've got a couple coming to 15 to go. Briscoe, Elliott, Hamlin are in. Eric Jones, BJ McLeod are also in. So just 5 drivers. And very interesting to see only 2 of the 4 JGR Toyotas in the field coming to pit road.
Yeah, that's not all of the Toyotas, guys. You got the 45, the 35 still out there.
Time stops for fuel only. Eric Jones in and out. Now, can they all get lined up again as they exit the room?
It's going to be interesting to see if this all cycles through. I would imagine because Briscoe and Hamlin were 1 and 2, they had to pit first because they used the most fuel. Elliott was not far in line behind him for most of that run. Connor Zilic, the rookie, leads the field off of turn 2 at Daytona as we come into the second round of green flag pit stops potentially. Yes, we do. Anthony Alfredo, Michael McDowell are on their way in, a few others as well.
We're going to have 3 different groups in this one. Didn't see that in the last duel.
I don't know who all came to pit road because Fox's camera's not on.
I mean, obviously, Chase Briscoe, the last car on your bottom screen right there. See Anthony Alfredo making his pit stop and position himself up towards the front of this pack. But there's just not very many cars on pit road.
5 right now.
And so what'll happen right here is all these cars that are organized on the racetrack are going to make way better lap time than the guys that are broken up into smaller groups.
Now, though.
Amongst those that just pitted there, Ty Dillon, Anthony Alfredo, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Larson, and there was one other car I couldn't quite tell was also on pit road. Connor Zilic will pit from the lead, but unfortunately for Zilic, he's got no help. Nobody coming down with the 88 car, so despite leading with 14 to go, he's going to fall out of the lead, and he's going to be struggling just to keep up with the pack. He's probably going to lose everybody.
For Zilic on pit road, this pack right here on the racetrack is going to want to run as long as they can run, because all of the things that have happened, they aren't going to make near the lap time that these cars are on the racetrack, so they're going to make up overall time if they can get their pit stop right.
Especially as connected in as many cars as in that group, to your point, Kevin. Now, this savings that we see in this fuel mileage early in these races, that is what affords these teams the opportunity to do different things and get on different strategies. Here they come now.
And now, everybody else goes to pit road. 9 cars.
Very collected, though, to Kevin's point.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and they're still going to have the biggest numbers when they get back out.
Yeah, that's going to be an advantage for this group. About 9 cars onto pit road, according to Clint Boyer there. I had to step away. I had an ant on my TV screen. I don't know why I'm getting ants in the middle of the winter. That was the second one I found today. I had one in the kitchen this morning. Crazy. That's going on here. What's going on at the racetrack as we round through green flag pit stops? Justin Allgaier's our current race leader. Staying out on the track one extra lap, along with Riley Herbst, Austin Cindric, Christopher Bell, Chandler Smith, Todd Gilliland. And as the speed tries to be gained by those that are already at speed, are closing in on those that are just now leaving pit road. Eric Jones is leading the line of cars that have already pitted. A few cars are going to move up in front of him. Josh Berry the first. They'll now split to the inside. Todd Gilliland, Riley Herbst on the bottom. They'll split inside and out. Herbst not sure where he's going to go, but Eric Jones stays above Riley Herbst. No contact made as he narrowly escapes. And so Eric Jones leads the pack at Daytona, looking for redemption after coming oh so close to winning his duel last season. Justin Allgaier just exited pit road. He is going to cycle well out behind the leaders, and there are still 3 cars that are all alone. Eric Jones has a massive run on them. Carson Hocevar is the first car he's catching. Hocevar throws a nasty block on Eric Jones. Nearly turned himself down into the infield. That's going to shake everything up behind him. Chase Elliott hopped out of the bottom, straight to the top as soon as that block happened. He's got Denny Hamlin pushing him. Now Reddick up to block Elliott. Big block at that. Elliott has to lift to let him up in line. And somehow, after all of that, Carson Hocevar finds himself at the front of the field. This is scary. He almost caused one wreck, and Tyler Reddick aggressively side drafts him as he tries to pull out a line and make a pass in the tri-oval, but didn't have enough drafting help to go with him, and Hocevar holds on to the lead with a fellow Chevy. Chase Elliott pushing him and keeping him out in front. 10 laps to go. You want an entertaining race? Put Carson Hocevar at the front of the field at Daytona and see what happens. Oh my goodness. I wouldn't want to be anybody trying to pass him. Hamlin from third place pulls out a line behind Chase Elliott. Hocevar down to block. Reddick is sandwiched 3 wide in the middle between Larson and Cindric as we have a couple rows of 3 wide, about 3 of them. Michael McDowell, Hocevar's teammate, somehow has found himself towards the front of the pack, and we go to commercial with 9 laps to go. I don't know what's going on here. That was a hard cut. 9 laps to go, and we have a full screen commercial break at Daytona. Are you kidding me? Well, our full field running order right now has Chase Elliott in the lead. Apparently, he passed Carson Hocevar. I didn't see it because they're on commercial, but Elliott leads. Hocevar in second now. Michael McDowell third. Denny Hamlin in fourth. Kyle Larson fifth. Tyler Reddick in sixth. Austin Cindric seventh. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. eighth. Riley Herbst ninth. Todd Gilliland rounds out the top 10. Eric Jones in 11th. Connor Zilic 12th. Josh Berry 13th. 14th. Now Ty Dillon, and Berry falls to 15th. A little bit of a shakeup in the running order. Christopher Bell is 16th. Ty Gibbs 17th. 18th for Anthony Alfredo. He really fell back after green flag pit stops. Justin Allgaier 19th. Chase Briscoe is in 20th. BJ McLeod 21st. JJ Yaley 22nd. So Alfredo still leads of the 3 open entries in 18th place, while BJ McLeod and JJ Yaley are not in the lead pack. So Alfredo, I mean, you hope they stay green to the end, so you still kind of want to fight forward just in case. But if we don't catch another caution, Anthony Alfredo is going to make the Daytona 500 if he's not in an incident, because he's about 11 seconds ahead of McLeod. Yaley actually fell off of the lead draft when things started picking up before the pit stops. He is a lap down in 22nd. Hocevar and Elliott are going back and forth for the lead. We're on a full screen commercial break still on Fox Sports 1 with 7 laps to go in the duel at Daytona. Oh my gosh. I mean, they were going nuts, and then they cut the break with 9 laps to go. And this isn't a quick commercial either. We have 6 laps left now, and they're still not back. Oh my, the worst part is they have a NASCAR ad going on right now. We have a NASCAR advertisement, full screen, with 6 laps to go in the race. Now we're back. We're back. We're 3 wide. Oh my gosh. Chase Elliott, Carson Hocevar lead on the outside lane of cars. And it's 3 by 3 everywhere else through the lead pack here. Just behind him, Michael McDowell had a good run behind Hocevar. He'll stay in line behind his teammate for now. Kyle Larson, teammate of Elliott, is the fourth car in line on the outside. We'll see if the 5 and the 9 can get connected here. So 2 Spire cars and 2 Hendrick cars up at the front of the field. Larson pulls out a line on McDowell, and he's going to make one pass at a time. He moves into third. That was a great move by Larson. Settles himself in line, and now he can be a little bit patient, maybe try to pass the 77. Connor Zilic has found himself all the way at the front of the field. I don't know how. Connor Zilic, after pitting by himself with no drafting help, is up into the 6th place position. All Chevrolet in the top 6, the 3 Toyotas. The highest running Ford is in 10th of Austin Cindric with less than 5 laps to go. And the top 6 positions of those Chevys are all single file. Calm before the storm, if you will. Hocevar in second, you know he's going to make a move, but when is it going to happen? And will Kyle Larson maybe make a move before Hocevar? I can bet if Larson makes a move, Hocevar's blocking, because I've seen twice already Hocevar nearly caused a wreck trying to block. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it works for him. 4 to go. 4 laps left here at Daytona. Connor Zilic pulls to the bottom in front of Josh Berry, and maybe Zilic is going to try to lead the inside lane. He's on the inside of Stenhouse. The 21's going to get a run and try to push the rookie. Can the rookie handle his first pushes at the front of a pack in a cup race at Daytona? It's side by side and gridlocked from 5th on back, where Zilic and Stenhouse run. Single file, top 4, Elliott, Hocevar, Larson, McDowell. Tyler Reddick in the sucker hole, 3 wide middle, no help. He goes all the way to the back. What was 3 lanes for a short bit, now down to 2. Zilic is fading as there's only 4 cars left on the bottom, and they're all separated by a decent amount. And the train game around the outside near the wall is taking over. We've been caution-free in dual race number 2 to this point. Will it stay that way to the finish? Hocevar pushes Chase Elliott down the back straightaway, trying to keep him ahead of Larson and McDowell. Let's go into turns 3 and 4. Sets himself in line. I would imagine Larson's not going to work with the 77. So if Hocevar pulls out a line, he does have McDowell there, but it's an extra car length behind, and it might not work out very well for him. Anthony Alfredo has lost the lead draft, but he's got better single car speed than that of McLeod and Yaley, who have also lost the draft. Actually, it looks like Alfredo may be hanging on to the very back of the pack, or at least on the back of the 35 of Riley Herbst. So he's got some help. If it stays green to the end, Anthony Alfredo is surely looking like he's going to make the Daytona 500 on his finishing position in this duel. Meanwhile, back at the front of the field, we're entering turns 3 and 4, and they'll be coming to the white flag this time by. Jostling for position is Eric Jones and Austin Cindric, now moving in front of the 88 of Connor Zilic. Jones back up into the outside. Quite a gap between himself and the next car in front of him, which is Ty Gibbs in the 54. Stenhouse is now going to try to build a gap between himself and Michael McDowell for 4th place. Christopher Bell is the one pushing Stenhouse. Final lap of the race into turns 1 and 2. Hocevar is pushing the 9 of Chase Elliott. Elliott dancing around a little bit. Now quite the gap between Larson and Hocevar. Kyle Larson with a huge run off turn 2. Down the back straightaway. Will he take it? No, he pushes Hocevar instead. And Hocevar again pushes the 9. So Carson not pulling out a line yet. Bump draft in the back of Chase Elliott. Entering turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Bell's got a big run, but he's too far back. Larson trying to hang back for one last run. Can Hocevar make a move for the win? He's not going to be able to. Larson out of line. Hocevar to block Larson. He holds on for second, and Chase Elliott is going to win dual race number 2 at Daytona. I think Hocevar had a shot on the back straightaway when he had that push from Kyle Larson. He didn't take it. He was waiting until the front stretch, and it was too late. Because by that point, Larson was making a move for second on Hocevar, and there was no push for Carson to try to get the win on the 9. And Anthony Alfredo, as mentioned, will race his way into the Daytona 500 with this staying caution-free, tailing at the lead end of the lead pack, while McLeod and Yaley, through green flag pit stops, lost the lead pack. Not as dramatic as the first duel, but needless to say, Anthony Alfredo has raced his way into the Daytona 500. And Beard Motorsports, albeit an 18th place finish, has advanced. J.J. Yaley and B.J. McLeod will be going home. Margin of victory for Chase Elliott over Carson Hocevar, 65 hundredths of a second. Solid win for Elliott. So Joey Logano, dual race winner number 1. Chase Elliott, dual race winner number 2. 12 lead changes, no cautions, 49 minutes and 5 seconds total time on this race. Chase Briscoe led the most laps in this duel, as he ended up from the pole leading 38 laps for finishing 20th, but clean race car. Briscoe will be tomorrow. Chase Elliott winning the duel will be starting 4th in the Daytona 500 on Sunday. The 9-car led 9 laps. Hocevar had 1 lap led. McDowell led 3 of those that finish up at the front of the field. We'll go through the finishing order of dual race number 2 here quickly. Chase Elliott with the race win. Carson Hocevar in 2nd. Kyle Larson 3rd. Michael McDowell 4th. And Christopher Bell rounds out the top 5 and 5th. That is now 5 top 5s for Bell in the last 6 dual races at Daytona for him. He's just consistent. Josh Berry in 6th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 7th. Todd Gillen 8th. Ty Gibbs 9th. Denny Hamlin rounds out the top 10. Then Eric Jones in 11th. Tyler Reddick 12th. Riley Herbst 13th. 14th for Zane Smith. 15th rather. Connor Zillage. Then Ty Dillon in 16th. Austin Cindric in 17th. 18th, Anthony Alfredo. BJ McLeod 19th. Chase Briscoe 20th. Justin Allgaier 21st. And JJ Yaley a couple laps down. I noticed he made another pit stop late in the race again. Finishes 22nd of 22. Anthony Alfredo races his way into the Daytona 500 by roughly 23 seconds over BJ McLeod. And it worked out for him. Here's Chase Elliott on the front stretch following his win in dual race number 2.
And the 30-year-old from Dawsonville, Georgia, captures the flag. Jamie?
Well, Chase Elliott said this week he wanted to get after it in this duel. With this new body, you wanted to feel it out, see what you had. What's your opinion of it after that one?
That's a great way to get the blood pumping for sure on a Thursday night. It was a lot going on. Those last handful, really ever since we came off pit road after the cycle, man, we were getting after it. It was a lot of fun. So I had some great support there. Carson did a great job helping me control those lanes and helping get Team Chevy to victory lane tonight. So certainly owe him an appreciation for just kind of sticking with it and also pushing me well. It's really easy to get people out of control. So appreciate that. Nice to get the Napa Chevy, a win, not a 500. I've been here before, not the other one. So you have to kind of learn to take it a day at a time. But look, great way to start this speed week for our team. Really proud of all the effort everybody at Hendrick Motorsports. The boss, from top to bottom, their commitment and will to win is pretty darn high. So proud to be a part of their team, and good night. Looking forward to Sunday.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. How did getting this win? I mean, knowing how your team executed, your pit crew, everything, does that set you guys up for Sunday and you trying to win your first Daytona 500?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a rocky road. We've had a couple really close opportunities. Fortunately, we've won this race here tonight before. Like I said, so I'm excited, but I'm also kind of cautiously realizing what Sunday brings, and obviously that's the big prize that we all want. So certainly we'll enjoy tonight. We'll think about what we can do to be better. Definitely some things that I think our car can improve on before Sunday, and the track is going to deteriorate. It's going to be a good bit warmer and sunshine being out. So a lot to think about between now and then, but appreciate the effort and we'll be ready to go to work on Sunday.
All right, that's Chase Elliott, winner of duel number 2.
All right, there's Chase Elliott. We'll see if we get a word from Anthony Alfredo, who got the final transfer spot. Yep, here he is with Regan Smith.
Alfredo, who for the 3rd time in your career, you will start the Daytona 500, but tonight you had to race your way in. How stressful was that?
I definitely don't love being in that position. Making it on time's a lot easier, but I mean, do this for the 3rd time it's really cool because the first race ever is all sitting right there. And my career's had a lot of ups and downs, and you never know when you're getting another shot to race on any Sunday, especially the Daytona 500 Great American Race. So I have all my family here, my baby girl Everly. I think I've only been this choked up twice in my life. When she was born, qualified for the Daytona 500, and it went Beard Motorsports is a tremendous family, women-owned NASCAR Cup Series team with a dream, carrying along Mark Beard Sr.'s legacy, and Dude Wipes. I mean, I wouldn't be in where I'm at in my career without them. And they've been my flagship partner in the NASCAR Rally Auto Parts Series, and then we've done some Cup races together and excelled. But to come here and make the Daytona 500 together is a dream come true. And I mean, missing it last year has haunted me until this very moment. This is the only thing that could blow that black cloud over.
Absolutely see the emotion involved with making the Daytona 500 such a big night.
A great story there for Anthony Alfredo, but it means that BJ McLeod and JJ Yearling will head home tonight and not make the 500.
Awesome job for the 62 bunch. And they brought a relatively fast race car. They could be one of the underdogs for sure. They have had good finishes at Talladega, specifically with Anthony Alfredo behind the wheel of the race car in the next gen era. We'll see if they can have a good run on Sunday in the Daytona 500. All right, so time to go over the start in order for the Daytona 500. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you guys visually the starting lineup for the 500, but I'm going to get the screenshots that I took on my phone of the Dual Race 1 winner, compare them with the finishing results of Dual Race number 2, and then we'll have at it. All right, so on the pole for the Daytona 500 is going to be Kyle Busch in the number 8, obviously qualifying last night for the pole position. Chase Briscoe will be starting in second place outside of row number 1. And row 2 will be the dual race winners Joey Logano and Chase Elliott. Row 3 will be Ryan Blaney and Carson Hocevar. Austin Dillon alongside Kyle Larson will be in row 4. Row 5 is going to be Brad Keselowski and Michael McDowell. Row number 6 is going to be John Hunter Nemechek and Christopher Bell. And row 7 now is going to be Shane Van Gisbergen and Josh Berry. Behind them in row number 7 will be Daniel Suarez and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Actually, that's row 8. Row 8 will be Suarez and Stenhouse. Row number 9, Casey Mears, although he'll probably have to make some adjustments to that race car following his crash. But as of right now, unofficially, he will be starting in the top half of the field. An 8th place finish for him in his duel, so he'll be inside of row number 9 alongside Todd Gilliland. And in row 10, going to be Ryan Preece, who has a very fast car this weekend, and Ty Gibbs. Row number 11 is going to be Alex Bowman and Denny Hamlin. So Bowman and Hamlin, row 11. Row 12 will be Cole Custer and Eric Jones. Row 13 is going to be Noah Gragson and Tyler Reddick. Bubba Wallace alongside Riley Herbst in row 14. Row 15, Corey Heim and Zane Smith. Row 16, Jimmy Johnson, Connor Zilich. Oh, that will pass into the torch in the Daytona 500. Chandler Smith did not make the Daytona 500, so it's Cody Ware with Ty Dillon in row 17. Then row 18 is going to be AJ Allmendinger will be on the inside of row number 18 alongside Austin Cindric. Ross Chastain and Anthony Alfredo are going to make up row number 19. Row number 20 is going to be William Byron and Justin Allgaier. And rounding out the field, Chris Buescher in 41st will be in row 21 all by himself. So Buescher bringing up the rear of the field. And he could be a driver that could go from last to first because those RFK Fords looked very fast. If he does have to go to a backup car with the damage he sustained finishing last in dual race number 1, hopefully the backup car is as fast as the primary. 60 laps complete here tonight. 123 total with the first race going to overtime and 3 cautions in race 1, caution free in race number 2. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's coverage of both races. I enjoyed it, and hopefully you did as well. And I will see you guys back better than ever again tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We will be live at Daytona for the Craftsman Truck Series race. 100 laps, 250 miles again, 7:30 p.m. Eastern will go live. Drop of the green flag, roughly 7:50 or so Eastern time. We'll be live also on Saturday with noon coverage of the ARCA Menards Series race at Daytona, followed by the O'Reilly Auto Parts race at 5 p.m. and the NASCAR Cup race, the Daytona 500 Sunday with our special start time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live 1 hour before the drop of the green flag. Thanks to everyone.